Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name's Jade, and this is The Interview. And today, I have a very special guest, Justine Kasprick. So kick back for the next couple of hours. We've got a great show for you. Let's kick off with pole vault. Hey, MF. That's Oj, baby. Well, hello there. My name is Jade, and this is The Interview, and I hope you're doing okay. It is Friday morning here in Australia, Thursday for the rest of you in the outside of Australia world. Catch up. We're ahead of you. When are you going to catch up with us all? Sundays soon. And I am a little bit hyped and a little bit nervous and a little bit lots of things today because, wow. I love doing this show, yeah? Let me just give you a bit of a preamble before we get into today's show. That was Pole Vault, and that was all the music today that is being selected on the show was selected by our guest, Justine Kasprick. So she's picked all the music, not me. And each artist that is being chosen for today's show, there is an emoji for them in the chat. If you are a member for $1 a month, you can throw those emojis around. Plus, there is an emoji for our guest and also Kurt as well. So you can throw the emojis around as much as your heart desires. Now, I need to tell you guys, I've been doing this for 4.5 years, getting on 5 kind of thing, and I've interviewed nearly 170 people on this channel. I've interviewed some really big rock and roll stars like from Faith No More and Jordan Rudess and many, many big stars and many, many independent artists from this community as well. But let me tell you, this one I'm nervous about. Yeah, I'm nervous. And why is that? Because I take a lot of pride in my interviews and trying to understand the people I have on and try to have respect for them. And this isn't about me. This is about them. And of course, at the same time, you never want to overstep or say anything fucked up and make a total dick of yourself, which I tend to do a lot of the time, and because none of us are perfect. So who knows where this is going to go today? But I just need to say before we get into it, everything that comes from me today is from my heart, yeah? And that is the way it is. If it goes down a path that we have no control of, well, that's where it goes. We don't know where this is going to go. So try to be kind to each other out there. Try to be kind to all of us here doing this show. And just have some fun, yeah? Throw your emojis, have a good time. And remember to big each other up, yeah? That's what it's all about. So let's get down to it. Now, many people will know Justine Kasprick and Kurt Kasprick. They have been massive supporters of so many artists and channels across YouTube since they came into this little space of ours, and have made it even more special. Like so many people who join this space, it just gets even bigger and better and cooler the more people who join and contribute. My personal experience was that of just positivity. Now, I'm going to tell you a little story before I bring her on. I see her waiting for me. I remember seeing Justine's name for the first time and going, the real Justine Kasprick? Who does she think she is? Is she like The Rock or something? If you smell what The Rock is. I'm like, who is this? Well, she's got a million clones out there or something, all trying to impersonate her. What the hell is going on? But she came into this community with her partner and Kurt, and they just showed so much support for so many of us. And what happened in December, we lost Kurt, tragic stuff that went down, and all our hearts have been broken ever since. And all that has happened since then is just a never-ending train of support and love. I have not witnessed anything like this in any kind of community I've been in the whole 52 years of my existence. It is just astonishing. And you guys should be patting yourselves on the back. You blew my socks out off, you know. And we came together and we've talked on panels and we've done so many things, and then it all culminated last week with Kurt Fest. And Kurt Fest was like no other festival I've ever been involved in. I've never seen 12 hours of music streamed online with so much love and so much attention, and people just giving up 12 hours of their time to be focused, donating money and performing and doing all the things. There were so many little parts that everybody played that made it amazing. But here was my thing. That, with all the stuff that's gone on in Justine's world, comes to a drop-off. And you build up to this kind of event where we all celebrate, and where do you go? Where do you go next? And that can be a very cold, dark, troublesome thing that can happen. So my point was, well, let's have a debrief. So I'm not even going to call this an interview today. This is more of like, fuck, wow, let's have a debrief. So without further ado, let's bring on one of the strongest women I think I've ever had the privilege of meeting. And we're going to find out, like, again, every interview I do has to have a point, has to have some kind of, why am I doing this interview? What do I want to know? And today's interview is like, how did this woman become so incredibly strong and such a inspiration to me now that I know her? So that's what we're going to do today. So without further ado, my friends, let's do it. Let's bring her on. She's ready to go. I can see her. She's like going, rah, rah, rah. she's firing up. Justine Kasprick. Hello, beautiful.
No,
How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Nervous, you know that.
Yeah, well.
Now, folks, we had a chat beforehand, and I never have somebody on the show who I'm more nervous about than them coming on the show. It's crazy.
Funny. That is funny. That's funny to me. I'm sorry that you're nervous. I should be the one that's nervous, but you're my friend. We're just gonna talk.
Exactly. You know, I think it does come down to care, and that is the one thing about this community that is. Oh man, I say it so many times. I feel like a broken record. I've been in so many music communities in my life, and somebody's always waiting to cut you down. Around every corner, there's some shonky dude in a balaclava waiting to go. You're having success. I'm going to ruin it. And I keep looking around those corners here on YouTube, and there's no one there. Justine, why do you think that is the case about this community?
I don't know, but I'm certainly thankful for it. Maybe it's because people here have experienced crappy things on YouTube. That's why I came here. That's how I came here. I think I found my way here through Creek Squad, who was a guy that used to pop up on a live or two in my old community, which we'll talk about later. And he led me to Steve Harloha, who
Right.
led me to pretty much everything else here. And Steve was he is an amazing person. He would bring Kurt up, and Kurt couldn't see. He had that blindness. He had photophobia.
Yep.
So they wanted him to sing karaoke. So Steve would go up with him and sing it with him. And so we would have a blast doing stuff like that, just screwing around, and that's how it was just pure fun. And I think that that's the spirit of this place. It's fun, it's lifting people up, it's music. And I just hope it spreads. That's my goal.
It is it's a snapshot of the world, in my opinion. And the snapshots we're getting at the moment of the world from certain sources, without getting into dark places that are the outside of this little space we're in, they're showing really shitty snapshots of humanity. And we are actually not this thing that the world is portraying humans as at the moment. And I say it all the time. I wish more people could see what's happening here and go, oh, right, so that's what my book was telling me to be like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right.
this is the example right here of how you should be acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and not being a troll.
Yeah,
There's so many of them.
I think they've been led down this path of no, the thing is we've got to be horrible to each other. Everybody be horrible to each other and cut each other down. It's like, no, that's, you're missing the point. You're missing it.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, my whole thing is try to lift people up. We already cut each other down. That's easy to do. It's easy to cut each other down. The hard thing is to actually encourage people, stand behind them, stand by your friends, and support them. And I don't know what happened, but yeah, somehow in this world, people lost that, and that's ridiculous. It's just stupid.
What you said is absolutely damn straight. It is so easy, and I'm going to bleep myself. It is so easy to be an absolute these days to people, and it's like in what's the song? Stairway to Heaven. There are two paths you can go by, right?
Mm-hmm.
You make the choice every day to be an absolute. And if that's what you choose to do, then you will be surrounded by that kind of negativity. That will be your life.
Exactly. That's karma, right? That's your karma that you're creating. What you put out in the universe, you're going to get back tenfold. So if you're going to be that, then you're going to get that back tenfold, and just don't wonder why. Don't.
Yeah.
You can put all the good out there in the universe and still get crap back. So, you best off better be putting some good out there.
like-minded people attract like-minded people. You swim in shit, you will drown in shit, and that is the way it goes.
Exactly.
All right.
Cast your pearls before swine, right?
Yes, exactly. And the motto of this channel has always been "We all rise together," and the anagram is wart. It's so stupid. People go, "Wart? What's all that about?" It's like, well, it's actually ugly to be positive these days. That's the
Yeah.
idea behind it. Like, and you know what? I'd rather be ugly and weird and perceived as like an outsider and a freak as long as I'm doing the right thing. That's what matters the most. So your names don't, your sticks and stones
Right.
and all that bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Now
It
I
doesn't
see,
matter.
I'm looking at how many people are here. Well, fuck me drunk. 51 people.
Dang. Hey, everybody.
Hey. And thank you. I see all of you typing away, and thank you all so very much for being here. What we'll do is, what we normally do is after a second song we play, we'll do shout outs, and I give you the opportunity to type anything you want so I can see you in the chat, even if you call me a dickhead, and I can call you out. All right, we'll do the shout outs then. So thank you all for being here. We love you so much. Let's get down to it. As we say in bingo, eyes down. I've never played bingo. What am I talking about? So, the first question I ask everybody who comes on this show, and this show is no different. Justine Kasprick, what does music mean to you?
It means everything to me. Gosh, I was born singing music. I think I got into Elton John when I was 1.
Oh, wow.
Um, I had this, my mom made me this tiger costume for Halloween one year, and I think it was my brother's sunglasses. He had Elton John's sunglasses, and I took them and I put them on. I like grabbed him off his face and I put him on. I'm like, no, these are mine. I want to be Elton John. So that was like my first absolute love in this world was Elton John. I loved Elton John. I loved the Beatles.
El-
So it's everything to me.
what is it about Elton John that is it his is it the
No.
melody? What is it that pulls you into Elton John?
I
The,
think that's what it is. It was him and the Bernie Taupin era, right?
mm,
And so it was the whole Yellow Brick Road album. And
great album.
and everybody hates this album, but I love it. Captain Fantastic and the Brown Deer Cowboy. I absolutely adore that album. And I would sit there with that album open. It's got this, I don't know, it was a double album. So you opened it up and it had this crazy art in it. And it was all this like underwater, all these underwater fantastical creatures. And that became iconic for me as art and as an album. So I love that silly album. I love that, and I love Yellow Brick Road. Those are probably two of my top 10 albums of all time.
Do you
So
do you
yeah.
miss the concept of an album? Yeah, I mean, I, I love hearing that story of like we don't hear this anymore, do we? I got home and I opened it up and it was a gatefold and it had this.
Yeah, no,
Do
I
you
do
miss it?
miss that. Yes. I used to go, there was this actually in my old neighborhood, Ferndale, there was this a record store called Sam's Jams, and a lot of my friends used to work there, and I bought my first Sex Pistols album there. I bought my first Violent Femmes album there. They were your prizes. I worked to buy music. Music and clothing, I think is what I worked to buy, mainly music. And I would look for bootlegs. I would have them search for
No.
rare stuff. I would go for every single thing. And man, I loved it. I ate it right up.
Yeah, I
I
was
was very
exactly the
into,
same. Exactly the same.
all
Bootlegs.
the all the Depeche Mode. I had a ton of U2 bootlegs. I used to love U2, the old U2. I had a bootleg of him doing something about Christmas Mass. It was Bono talking, doing like this poetic thing about Christmas Mass. I wish I still had that. It was really cool. I don't know what happened to half of that stuff.
It's funny. Rick Beato talks about this all the time, but I don't know. Rick kind of the way he explains it. I don't know. He's two old men yelling at clouds. But even Russ said here, albums used to be an adventure to get lost into, and you said it as well. you used to have to work your ass off to get music. Like when I was a kid,
Oh,
my nan lived out my nana, she lived out in the back in a granny flat, and she had a little porta potty, and nobody in my family wanted to empty out the porta potty once a week. But my nana gave me $15 a week to do it. And
yeah, exactly.
basically my entire record collection was built on me cleaning my nana's shit. And I
Yep.
didn't give a hell. I had all
Fair.
the best music, so who cares? But we don't work for
Exactly.
music anymore, do we? Like everything, you just sign a subscription, it gets taken out of your account, and you
Yeah.
uh,
It's iTunes or it's, all MP3 stuff. It's not the same. I still like at least purchasing a CD, and now that vinyl's coming back, oh ha ha ha. I love it. I went and purchased H. Ben Shepherd, who is the bassist for Soundgarden. He did his own album called In Deep Owl, and it's a double album, and I got it in vinyl. I hope it survived. I don't know, but it is this beautiful double, and it opens up, and you can take it. Oh, it's so awesome! And to be able to set that on the record player and play it, and sit there for a session and listen to music. I mean, we used to do that. We used to just sit, and I used to sit in my room and listen to music and have the lyrics in front of me. In fact, with the first Violent Femmes album, Gordon Gano had taken the sleeve and wrote all of the lyrics to every tune with no punctuation and no capitalization, just all of the lyrics in on the inner sleeve. And I was like, I want a t-shirt of this.
yeah.
I'm gonna do this. So I took one of those old Hanes t-shirts, white guys t-shirts, and I drew lines on a piece of paper. I put it in the back like a backing, and I copied it. And I did that. And I wrote the whole thing out. And in fact, the day I met Kurt, I wore this. It was Halloween 1986. And I was dressed as the Queen of Hearts. I had a sandwich board and I'd drawn the Queen of Hearts as a card. And I wore this freaking Violent Femme shirt underneath it. And he's like, "Where'd you get that shirt?" And I said, "I made it." And he said, "You made that?" I said, "Yeah, I made it." I wanted it, so I made it. He was like, "Oh my God, I want one." I'm like, "There's only one." And he
There's
always
only
tried to
one.
steal that thing from me.
There's only one.
He never got that one. He got all my other shirts, but he never got that one.
I love that. You're right, though. Like it was an experience. You got home. I mean, many of us here too. Like, young kids can wave their fists and call us Gen Xers or Boomers or whatever they fucking want, but they don't have that experience anymore. You saved up your money. You went and bought something. Sometimes you bought an album just based on the artwork. Hadn't even heard the
Yes.
band. And sometimes you got some stinkers. Sometimes you got some gems. But it was that sit down and just, oh my God, I'm gonna let myself absorb this album, and a lot of albums. Here's the thing with music too: you don't always like it on the first listen,
Right.
but
Many times I don't.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're growers, not
Yeah.
showers. And these days we're so quick to skip. My attention's gone. Skip, and it's like, oh, you're missing out
Yeah.
on so much fucking good music. It's probably one of the things that makes this community so special because it is. There's no opportunity to fucking skip, is there?
Yes.
You've got to
That
listen
is a
to
thing.
it.
I like that. I don't skip music like on purpose because I want to hear this. Okay, maybe I don't like it right now, but okay, for example, Chris Cornell's last solo album. When I first heard that, I was like, it's okay. But then I kept listening to it. I'm like, oh my God, this song.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, this song. And so you go back and you hear it and it means something else. It's like I didn't get it when I first heard it. Now I get it. Now I understand it.
Yeah.
If you experience something or whatever, that's the beauty of it. I think part of the beauty of it anyway.
Yeah, and I think it's a great thing that vinyl's back. I've been, looking at turntables, but again, unfortunately, the good thing about it is, I think with vinyl coming back is it's ownership too. Not only are you, if you do get back into vinyl, get a new turntable, start buying albums, You actually own something again. We are in an age right now where
Mhm.
it seems like every day something else is being taken away from us. It's like, no, you can't own that anymore. You can only go a subscription for it. No, you can only rent that because I mean, what's next? Are they going to rent us air? Like,
Don't even give them any
no,
ideas.
I know. I put it in the universe. It's going to happen now. It's going to happen.
They already charge us for water. Stop.
Yeah, well, and the world's biggest Coca-Cola owns pretty much all the water in the world anyway. So the
Yep.
irony
Yep, they do.
of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Right.
So,
But yeah, no, it's true. Yeah.
so as we're going back in time and reliving the good old days of music, which are coming back because things do come back in cycles. We live in a disco world, and I know a lot of people didn't have no idea what I'm saying by that, but disco comes back every 20
Oh.
fucking years. And we live in a flares world where flares come back flared pants come back every 20 years. And so it only makes sense that in a time when they're taking from us, there's going to be some kind of way to listen to music and be a purist and get your music the way it should be. That's why I like Bandcamp. When you buy
Yes.
from Bandcamp, not only do you get it forever to download, but you get the high quality version, you get the MP3, you get all the versions, and so for the stereo, the audio files, and all that stuff. And
It is. It's
you're actually paying the artist.
exactly. It's way better. But this is what we tried to express to our son was the whole gaming thing, right? With the buying he was into Fortnite, Jordan. And so he would be online buying all the skins. And it's like, okay, what happens when
Yeah.
that goes down? You don't have it anymore, right? So, but with my CDs and my albums, I've got it. I've got it always. I'll never lose it. I think that's also a point of having the physical thing
Yeah.
too.
There's
But yeah,
nothing beats it.
Bandcamp is awesome for the artist. That's the best thing, I think. I'm always for that.
Absolutely. And while we're in this renaissance of music, I'm going to hit with the magic second question that everybody gets on this channel. The music you recall that was played in your household growing up by your parents, and
Oh
did it
wow.
stick with you? And do you listen
You
to it
know, and
now?
I do. Now I do. When I was young, I hated it, right? It was because my parents were older.
Well, hang on.
My
Well, you would hope they're older than you.
Well, no, they were much
All
older.
right.
Jade,
All right.
my dad was 60 years old when I was born.
Wow.
60, right?
Wow.
And my mom was 42. They were older for back then. This was 1972.
That's when I
So
was
people
born.
back then, yep. See, I thought you were younger than me. That's ridiculous. Uh, but people back then, they didn't have kids when they were 42, let alone 60.
Yeah.
People thought they asked my dad, "Oh, is that your granddaughter?" No, that's my daughter. He loved that though. My dad loved that. He loved that he had a kid at 60. But yeah, my parents listened to, my dad, all big band stuff. So and my mom was very into Nat King Cole and Rhapsody in Blue, so Gershwin. And I didn't really appreciate that until, about 20 years ago, I think. I started to really appreciate that type of music. And my dad would torture me. He loved Whitney Houston. Oh my God. He would play this Whitney Houston in the car. You remember
Yeah.
cassette tapes in the car?
Of course.
Yeah. He would stick that Whitney Houston thing in there and make me listen to that over and
What
over
was his
and
favorite
over. I was like,
Whitney song?
kill me. Um, I will always love you, I think is what
Uh,
it was. Yeah, it was the 90s. It was terrible.
I
Just
remember
jump out the
I remember
window.
when she passed away because I was in that full on LGBT pride. It was about pride here, and I was performing on the big main stage of the big Pride Festival in Australia, and she passed away on the day of Pride. And you know what gay guys are like
Ugh.
with Whitney Houston,
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah, it's
the
crazy.
whole event, 70,000 people. It was heartbroken, and I'm like, fuck me,
Oh,
I finally get a gig headlining in front of
but no,
70,000 people, and I got to play to a bunch of heartbroken gay men. This sucks.
sucks.
I may as well do a Whitney cover. I did it.
Exactly.
I
You
did
might
it.
as well.
Well,
That's probably a good idea.
so a lot of cultured music when you were growing up. So,
Yes. But now my brother, who's 12 years older than me, he was the Elton John fan, the Beatles fan, Kansas, Led Zeppelin, Kiss. So I got all that too at home. So that's, I love all those bands. I adore that music. Chicago, we had Chicago. We had Beach Boys. We listened to pretty much everything, which was good.
the reason I ask that question is, I mean, there are some people out there who try to bury their roots. Myself, I grew up in the 70s, a kid of the 70s, and, my mum listened to a lot of disco, and, I got into, hard rock of the time and all that kind of stuff, and then I found metal. And once I found metal, but during the 80s, I love 80s music. Anything cheesy with
Yes,
an old synthesizer, I just love it. But a lot of
me
people
too.
used to shit on me and go, but you're a metalhead. You can't listen to like fucking Boy
Oh my God, I
George.
love that.
I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Like that stuff shaped my metal. That's why my metal's so different to yours because you're just like so blinkered.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, I can't. If I had $1 for every time I heard something about, well, you're a punk, so you can't listen to Guns N' Roses. Who says? You? Okay, I don't care. I
That's such a
can listen
weird
to whatever I
statement.
want.
That's such a weird statement
It's
because
stupid.
I remember when I first heard Guns N' Roses, and it was ironically enough in a death metal record store. And this
Nice.
is before they blew up, right? And
Right.
the guy who ran the store had obviously got hold of their big album and gone, I don't know what this is, and put it on, and we heard Welcome to the Jungle. We're all going, fuck, this is pretty punk, man.
Yeah.
Guns N' Roses are pretty
Yeah.
fucking punk, and that's why that album kicks. And a lot of the other stuff they kind of did afterwards wasn't so much that. That was a moment. And then, with the spaghetti incident, they showed their punk roots as well in there as well.
Right.
And then like I remember hearing that Guns N' Roses album back then and going, this is wild. And then we didn't hear anything about them. And then a year later, it fucking blew up and everybody was into Guns N' Roses. And I'm like, isn't this that band we heard a year ago that nobody gave
Yeah.
a shit about? What?
Exactly.
What's
Yep.
going on?
That's exactly what happens too, it's like, hey, don't be jealous just because I'm like on the cutting edge of stuff and you're not. There are just so many stupid people out there that say that, and it's like you can't don't pigeonhole yourself. Don't limit yourself. That's a thing. Other music, my family's crazy with music because my grandfather played the fiddle, right? And so he was in bluegrass bands. And so I heard a ton of bluegrass growing up too. And that's gotten in me, especially especially after my mom died. Um, my mom passed away of a brain tumor when I was 33. And the Oh Brother, Where Art Thou soundtrack was really popular back then. Man, did I wear that out. I just absolutely love that music. So, luckily, I've had experiences with all different kinds of genres and different types of people. And I can see the punk rock and bluegrass. I met a band here a while back. I can't remember their name right now, but they were a fusion of punk and bluegrass, and it was brilliant. It really was. I would love to hear them again. The
I,
Briscoe County Vultures, that's what their name was.
me and Brad talk about this a fair bit when we hang out on Clubhouse. A lot of the roots of punk is bluegrass, is metal as well. Metal comes from blues. Everything comes from like
Mhm.
if we didn't have Elvis swinging his hips and driving everybody crazy, we wouldn't probably have half the shit that we have now that is just so avant-garde and off your face. You remember Elvis swung
Right.
his hips and people were like, holy fuck, man, the sky
Yep.
is falling. This is the end of the world. Everybody build a
Was that?
bunker. Yeah, like people were freaking the fuck out over this one guy going wobba wobba wobba. Oh my God,
Oh, it's crazy. It's funny to think back and think how that was a big deal. Or the Beatles with their hair,
yeah,
because they
yeah,
had, those haircuts. Like,
yeah.
really? That's a big deal. You dye it, orange and green now, but at the same time.
It's good to. The one thing that has remained consistent with humans, though, we do have a lot of outcry over frivolous shit, don't we?
Yeah.
And all the
Well, you know.
all the really important shit though that we really should be talking about just gets like, let's focus on
Yeah,
this
we're not even talking
frivolous
about
shit. We
that.
don't need to worry about that stuff,
Yeah.
because we get sidetracked very easy. Let's talk. While we're on albums here, I love this question because I just find it very fascinating. My first album that I was ever given as a gift was Kiss Unmasked, and it drove me down this road of loving everything Kiss did, and everything. I just loved everything. I had Kiss makeup and Kiss guitars, and my mum made me an Ace Frehley costume, and I used to do concerts out the front of my house. I'd even go to the library with my mum with my Kiss makeup on. I was so into it. And then they took their makeup off, and I was like, oh, they kind of suck. They're
Ugh.
like these ugly Ford.
The goth, the
Gross.
cool goth glam thing went away, you
Yeah,
know?
they're just like
Like,
these
who are these
creepy.
guys?
Yeah, they look like sleaze lords in a fucking bar or something now. Like, what? Who are these guys? I don't want to know
Gene
them.
Simmons was the worst. You look back and you go, Gene, the fro, bro. No, it's not a good look.
Put the makeup back on, please, please. We don't want to see what's under there.
So funny.
So,
Oh, love
what was
Kiss.
the first album that you purchased with your own little Justine Kasprick pocket money, and the first album that was given to you by somebody as a gift?
Okay, they were both these things back in the 70s. We had these things called K-Tel albums.
Oh, I love K-Tel.
And the compilation albums.
Yes.
And the first one is one I actually bought with my own money. I think I was like 8 or 9 years old. I saved up my money from helping my dad at the store. And I bought this K-Tel album. And it was called The Heart of Rock. No, it wasn't. That was the one that was given to me. I can't remember the first one, but it had Heart in it. It had Magic Man, and it had all these cool like R&B tunes too. It had Barry White on it. Oh my God, it had the Bay City Rollers.
I've found it.
I don't know if anybody remembers those.
Is that it?
I
Is that
had
it there?
Then that's the second one I
That's the
had. That's the
second.
one my brother gave me. That was the second album I had, but I had that one.
The
And that had
Heart of
REO
Rock.
Speedwagon on it. That had Heart on it too. That was a great one. But the first one I had, it was like this jean, it was like a jean cover, like a pocket of
Oh, let me
jeans.
keep looking.
And it had Magic Man on it. It had War, Cisco Kid was a friend of mine. Ding, 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 ding. It had that song on. Anybody remembers that one? And the big one was the Bay City Rollers and that silly, yeah. So those are my first two albums. And that Heart of Rock was probably the best one.
The thing is, a lot with those K-Tel albums, and it took me a long time because we were kids, right? You don't realize and you'd go, wow, look at all those artists on that album. How do they charge $5 for all those? And then some of them, not all of them, you would get at home and then listen to it and go, there's something a bit weird about this version. And then you find out, hang on a minute, this isn't the original song. It's like being remade by somebody. And who are these
Yeah.
people? Yeah, they were like bootleg
It was
versions.
weird.
Yeah.
But now the two albums I had were pretty good. The versions were pretty much just the radio versions. So it wasn't that bad. But some of those albums they got really bad. And they just stopped doing them, I think. Or they turned into those, whatever those like kids ones are, where they remake the ones that kids can listen to.
I think K-Tel
And
went
DJs get them.
K-Tel went broke, I think, and they've I thought I read this recently, and they got bought out and rebranded, and I think they're back. I don't know.
Oh,
I thought I heard that Wikipedia. Here we go. K-Tel, Canadian. Well, they're Canadian. I didn't know that.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see. So they
That
sold
makes sense.
in 5 years. K-Tel sold more than 150 million LPs. I mean, they were nothing to be sneezed at. The dot-com bubble, they died. They fell apart. And recent years, the company now earns profits from its catalog on Billboard charting hits. So they're still making money.
Oh,
So they must have been.
holy crap.
They're making money of songs like The Twist, Chubby Checker, Tutti Frutti by Little Richard.
All those 50s, yeah, because they had
Yeah.
those all on albums. Yeah, I remember that. Yep,
Yeah,
yep.
so somewhere K-Tel is surviving off the success of these really old songs. That's kind of interesting.
And
We,
us as kids.
yeah, yeah, exactly. We are at 41 in, so we're going to play our second song. Let's find, now I'm just going to pick one to go off here. Let's pick up the pace a little bit and play a song by our friend Gary Hubbs. Now, you selected today's songs, and we opened first with Pole Vault, and I didn't ask you, why did you select that song by Pole Vault?
Well, I was coming out of a community that really should listen to that song.
Right.
We need to listen to every single lyric that's in that song. Maybe not everybody in the community, but certain select people
Yeah,
really need to
yeah.
listen to that. So that was like a stress reliever for me. I think I listened to that song every day for a month. And I sent it to people multiple times. They were like, yeah, you sent this to me already. I'm like, no, you have to listen again. That was that. So every bit of lyrics in that song was how I felt. What was it? In 2023 when I entered this community. I think it
Right.
was April of 2023. So that was just an emotional outlet. I love it. I never forgot it. It's in my playlist permanently.
And the second song I'm playing today is by Gary Hubbs, Fandango. What is it about Gary Hubbs to make you chose this song and him?
Well, Kurt always said Gary's me, but Canadian. And and this song reminds me of Kurt. We used to jam out to this all the time. And we always throw the flamingos when he plays this. And I absolutely love it. It makes me feel good. It makes us happy. That's why I picked it. And so does Gary, all of his music.
He is a legend, Gary Hubbs. He's amazing. He's been here on my channel since day one, and maybe people knows he just got modded today on my channel. I don't know why I never did it long ago, but there we go. So let's play it, folks. Chill out. Once after this song, we'll come back and say hello to you all, so get ready for that. This is, of course, Fandango, live from Metal Fest. Let's Oja.
Where's my 2-count bros at?
When you look into my eyes, you can see right through the lies. There's such candid-colored lies. Fandango! When you look into my eyes, you can see the hated side. On a red hill, Fandango! Say I'll be there for you. When you need me or not. Say put your trust in me. Then take all that you've got. Into my eyes, you can see right through the lies. Only with one kind, Fandango. When you look into my eyes, you can see my inside. Even though my soul is died, Fandango. Say I'll be there for you. When you need me or not. I say put your trust in me. And take all that you've got. Frustration, anger, aggression, rage, regret, frustration. One can completely believe oneself. One can believe all the lies. One can completely deceive oneself. One becomes one with the lie. Candy-coated lies, Bendigo! When you look into my eyes, you can see the hate inside. On a wave of hate I ride, Bendigo! I say I'll be there for you. When you need me, I'm not. Say put your trust in me. Then take all that you've got. I say follow mindlessly. And believe what you're taught. Way or they silence you. The system's been bought. Over and over again. Anger, aggression, rage, regret, frustration, anger, aggression, rage, regret, frustration. One can completely deceive oneself. One can believe all the lies. One can completely deceive oneself. One becomes one with the lies. Fandango! Fandango! When you look into my eyes, you can see right through lies. This is candy-coated lies, Fandango! When you look into my eyes, you can see the hate inside. On the wave of hate I ride, Fandango!
Fandango.
Boom. Right on. Boom. Gary Hubs, indeed. He's awesome. He's just so awesome. Look, I remember a time, as I said, I've known Gary for a long time, and remember his whole journey of first releasing his first music here in this community. And I remember a time, Gary remembered this too, and I'm pretty sure he won't have a problem with this, where he was going through some issues, man, like we all do as musicians, mentally going, I feel like I'm not putting out enough music. I feel like I got this small repertoire of songs. And I remember just saying to him, dude, who gives a fuck?
Yeah. Do your thing. Just do your thing.
It's not about quantity. It's never about quantity. It's about quality. And it shows through his music that the amount of songs that he does have, they're all bangers. There's no shit in
good.
there. Yeah.
Oh, I know. No. Nope.
Yeah.
Love it.
You don't need to they're just beautiful songs, and they're catchy, and we all love him. And the joke is, he gets up and plays every week and plays the same 12 songs, and fucking he can keep doing that till I die, and I'll be happy.
And I would totally still listen to him very happily and jump up and down and scream and yell. I love it.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Let's say hello to the gang, because there's a heap of you. There's 52 of you here. We threw out some memberships to kind of appease some of you. I think I saw a super chat come through from, I think it was Junie Lynn. So thank you so very much for that.
My friend, Junie Lynn. Hey, Judy.
And let's say hello to you all. So, folks, give me a shout in the chat. Type something, anything. I don't care what it is, just so I can find you in the chat to give you a call out, because there's a lot of people to find. Gary Hubbs is here. Sunshine Archer's here. Feisty Feathers in the house. Robbie Stingle's got some beavers. Junie Lynn's given us a woot. Hetriani's rocked in for some bro love. We've got Bonfire. Crimson Crux is here for a bit of moistness. Dal is here. Barry, Joe and Barry Glenn are both here. I'm trying to click at the same time. Rainfield Music, Tremor Bear, Ed B. Metal, Paul O'Farrell. Who else? We've got Ali, who's doing a kick-ass job as a moderator today, because we ain't got Thomas here. And so Leela's doing some mod work as well, because Thomas is away. You know, he's at a loss in his family, so he's away for a little bit.
Sorry.
Gordon Lee Weaver, the Falcro, Costa's in the house. Russ gives us a shout out. Russell's here. We've got Cole Vic, g'day to you. Perky Dynamite Throw. Thank JDL, what's going on? I think I'm Tremor Bear. Did I say Tremor Bear already? Tremor Bear's in the house. Bonfire, g'day Bonfire. Folk Punk's got some love hearts flicking around there. Kat J, hello to you. Kristen Kruger, hello to you. I saw Brenda earlier as well, typing away. E Urban is here. Irby Derby, got the boobies for you. Who else have I? I think I've got most. Chad Freeman gives us a hey, ho, ho. What's going on? So if I've missed people, I'm doing my best, folks. I'll try and catch up as we go through. And if I see you and I've missed you, I'll throw you
Hello
a shout
to anyone we missed.
Absolutely.
You know how that goes.
You guys, we call it the Hello Gauntlet here on this channel. You've got to run through as fast as you can. Hello. If I miss you, this is the thing. If I miss saying hello to you on one stream, folks, I'm sure I'm going to get you on the next stream 10 minutes away. All right? That's the way it goes. Pete Johns has joined us as well. G'day. He went back to bed because it is bloody early here in Australia. Who else? Rich GT350R. Mark Bro is in the house. Man,
Hey, Mark.
so many of you. I love you all for coming and hanging out and supporting my wonderful, wonderful, wonderful friend, Justine.
Thank you.
All right, so let's get down to some business, shall we? Let's get down to it. You grew up in Michigan.
Yep.
And family, tell us about your family's businesses. You grew up around there. And how did you get into music lessons from, growing up around your family business and all that kind of stuff, Justine?
Well, let's see. They took me downtown. I was basically downtown Detroit. I started school down there, and I hated it so bad. So the funny thing about being downtown is being a very small child. They put me there. There was an upstairs and a downstairs to one of the stores we had, and I was like put in this little kind of storage room with a television.
Oh dear.
And I mean, what was I, 3, 4? It was right before I entered kindergarten, so I wasn't in school yet. So my mom had to do something with me.
Yeah.
So she put me up there, Gen X. She put me up there in front of the television, and it was rabbit ears. We didn't have cable back then.
Yeah.
So in Windsor is right across the river, and we are literally on this side, just on this side of the river, and it's hard to get television stations with rabbit ears, right? And so mainly I would get Canadian television.
Wow.
And in Canada, they speak French too, including English. And I kind of learned a little French before I learned English. So I was walking up to my mom going, "Qu'est-ce que c'est? Qu'est-ce que c'est, Mom?" And she had no idea what I was saying to her. I was saying, "What is this?" And she didn't know what that meant. I could say my numbers 1 through 10 in French before I could in English. It was kind of ridiculous.
Do you still remember
So
them?
yes, I do. And du trois quinze sept six sept neuf neuf dix. Okay, that's crazy.
Wow.
Yes, that's permanently in my brain forever.
That's
stupid
like,
French.
I
yes.
remember Greek. Enavia tria desipenda xf and edeka. See, I remember the Greek numbers to 10. That's all.
That's awesome. That's really good. But yeah, so that was being a little kid down there. And then my parents said, "No, we're going to put her in school at home." So I went to Southfield schools. I lived in this little town called Lathrop Village, which is like a little place within the city of Southfield. So I went to Southfield schools and grew up there. And at 9 years old, in fifth grade, they offer instruments. You can go into band or orchestra. So my grandfather, having played the violin, I wanted to do that. I wanted to be like my grandpa. So I went in and learned the Suzuki violin method in fifth grade through public school. And I ate it up.
Yeah.
I ate it up. It was easy. They put little frets on your violin. You go run a violin, they put frets on it, and you play away. And it's basically just arpeggios, but that's what you don't realize that's what you're playing when you do it. So it's a lot easier for a little kid to learn that. So I went through that and got through fifth grade, then got to sixth grade, and they tried to teach us some music theory, and it was basically a crash course with about 100 kids in this class, and it wasn't good.
It's hard when
I
they're
got
really
a little of it. I got enough to play through for 4 years of high school,
big
but
classes
still.
suck, big classes. Yeah. What are you supposed to learn in big classes,
No, it's terrible. It's like they had every single kid that ever would be in band in this one class. And it's like, why couldn't they portion that out so we could each learn? Because that was something I really did want to learn, was theory, but whatever. I'm lucky I got the time signatures on in that stupid class. But from then out, we were playing classical music, and they had us competing at Solo and Ensemble Festival. So it was like a culture shock. I went from learning, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star to playing Vivaldi in front of somebody at the Detroit Symphony Orchestra.
Holy shit.
That was grating me. Yeah, it was crazy. and so that first sixth grade, that was a tough year for a kid. I was 12 years old and having to play this solo in front of people, but I did really well. They rated you from a 1 to a 4, and the 4 being the highest. I did get a 4 in that. So I went on and did 7th and 8th grade there too. And, did the whole orchestra thing, prim and proper, playing all oh my God, if I ever have to play Eine kleine Nachtmusik by Mozart again, I will throw myself off a cliff. We had to play that every year. Every year for, I think, 7 years, I played that thing.
The thing is with that
anyway.
that as well, it's one of the most used songs for on-hold telephone music as well. It's fucked. It totally ruins such an amazing song.
It did. It's like, why did you do that to us? That's terrible. I love Mozart. You ruined him. That and the Brandenburg Concerto. It's like, if I ever hear that again.
Like, it always amazes me that they do that. They take these classic songs and they put them in the most annoying scenario possible. Like, why couldn't they do this for a song that I fucking hate? Right? I already hate that song, so let me hate it even more. But no, you take classic orchestral pieces and turn it into, oh man, not the whole music. I'm going to kill someone.
I know, exactly.
Thank you, Mrs. High. Mrs. High just gifted 20 memberships. Thank you so much, and hello to you, Mrs. High. Thank you so much for that. That is so kind. So I'm reading up here about the Suzuki method. It was conceived in the mid-20th century. A Japanese violin salesman, Suzuki noticed that children pick up their native language quickly, whereas adults consider even dialects difficult to learn. And yes, that is true. I've seen children pick up Japanese very quickly, and I struggled heaps with it when I tried to learn it. He reasoned that if children have the skill to acquire native language, Japanese native language, they might have the ability to become proficient on a musical instrument. Suzuki decided to develop a teaching method after a conversation. So do you agree with that method, that it was easy? Because I've got a violin here and I tried to pick it up a couple of years ago. And
it's super easy. It's super easy.
I struggled
if you want to learn violin, like just real simple, and just do the Suzuki method. Just go pick up, you can go pick up the books. I think you can go get them on Amazon. And you put your they have stickers now you can get to put on the violin on the fretboard, but all we did was take that white tape and we put it where, okay, there's where your first finger goes, there's where your second finger goes, there's where your third finger goes, full step, half step, full step. And they literally number the notes for you. This is your first finger, this is your second finger, this is your third finger. And then you eventually learn, okay, I'm playing, this is an A string, so when I put my first finger on there, that's B. And then I put my second finger on there, that's C. So you learn it eventually because you're playing it. But it does make it a heck of a lot easier, especially as a kid, when you're a little intimidated by learning an instrument, or anybody intimidated by learning an instrument, to make it easier to learn it and not having to read music right off the bat. And I know not everybody knows how to do that.
I found when I played it, I don't know which way's the right way to play it. I can't work out which way's because I'm an ambo, so I play guitar right-handed. I play drums left-handed.
Okay.
Every single thing I do is the opposite. So like when I play sport, I do some things with this hand and I do other things with my right leg.
Okay.
So when I got the violin,
you do it all different.
Both ways kind of feel right, and I can't get which one is the one that's going to be the most. Oh, it's so confusing. So I just go over there. I just put it down, hide it.
I guess I'm right-handed. I guess you would say I was right-handed because I hold the bow with the right hand and the violin with the left. So the violin's up here, and then you've got it. This is a fun position. This will give you back problems for the rest of your life. Okay, so you hold it like this, and you got to have your wrist out because you can't put your wrist in by the head, because if you do that, you can't go up on the fretboard, right? You can't get those high notes. So you have to have your wrist sticking out, and then the funnest part is holding the bow. You have to learn how to hold your bow with just your pinky and your thumb. That's what we were taught.
If anyone's listening to the audio of this is not a sex education class right now. Just saying. It could be taken that way.
Well,
very easy. Or if you want it to be, that's up to you. You can.
Cheers.
Yeah. Here's to that.
Exactly.
We don't control your thoughts. We don't control your thoughts here. So, did you? I have to ask this because I ask everybody who comes on. Did they force you to learn the recorder?
No, I didn't have to with a stringed instrument.
Wow,
is that awesome? I didn't have to. All my friends in band did.
Yeah,
they all had to. I had a buddy with my girlfriend Carrie. She picked the flute. And she ended up coming over my house, and I had the violin, she had the flute, and she goes, "You picked an instrument you don't have to spit on." I'm like, "Yeah." Like, why'd you pick the flute? I can't even make a sound out of that thing.
It's another thing I tried to pick up too. I bought it like a fake. I don't know. It's like a flute crossed with a sax, and it's a weird. Anyway, I saw it on something, and I got it down. Like I picked it up a lot easier than I've had experience in the sex industry. So blowing on things wasn't too hard compared to a violin. Hang on. There we go. We need a sound effect there. We're going down a dark path now. But all right, so no recorder, so that's a good thing.
I didn't have to do that.
And of course, E. Urban says, "Haktu on that thing." Don't mention her name. She turned out to be a bad girl, that one with her rug pull and everything, didn't she? But anyway, but this led to vocals. So violin led to. How did you get the transition from violin to vocals?
They made us sing everything we played.
Wow.
So you had to. My teacher said, if you can sing it, you can play it. So you have to be able to sing it. And I never fancied myself a singer, but he made us do it. So you had to be able to sing it to play it. So that's how I learned to sing. Now, I was never really a singer. My sister-in-law is a singer. She sang opera. She did plays and all kinds of stuff. And she sings with her choir at church. But so she's a trained singer, and I would listen to her as she talked about singing. And my friend Carrie was a singer too. She was in chorus in school, very serious. I had several friends actually in chorus at school. So I would listen to them talk about, breathing, and I would be in orchestra and they were just in the next room singing. So I would go and, observe and pay attention and try to internalize some of what they were doing so that, I could teach myself. So I've never had any formal training singing. Everything that I do is been observed or given to me by friends or family, basically.
Well, I'm still I used to be a singing teacher for a long time, and I've trained and all that kind of stuff. I'm still a firm believer that everybody can sing. It's just some people sound like they can't. They sound terrible because they're not given the right instruction on how to understand what their range is. It's like I'll see a lot of karaoke singers and stuff, and they'll choose a song by Queen, and it's like, honey, you need 4 octaves to do that. And it's commendable, but you really need to understand what your range is, and then pick songs that are in that range, and then you sound amazing. And then from there, you can grow your range. You can get stronger and understand how to grow and reach those notes and all that kind of stuff. I think it's fantastic that, like you said, you picked that up yourself, because you can sing without lessons. Like Kurt Cobain is the perfect anomaly. People, the guy changed the entire landscape of music from this hair metal world to this grunge. It just dominated the whole world. And when you go and see Kurt Cobain live, you'd just be like, oh God, he's really struggling up there.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not about how proficient you are. It's a lot of the time with vocals, it's about capturing a moment. Capturing
a feeling.
And a lot of the times with vocals too, it's the inconsistencies of vocals, the mistakes that happen in a recording, or the way the voice has broken accidentally in a song.
Yes.
That people hear that part of the song and go, oh, that's my favorite bit, when the voice just breaks. Yep. And most of the time that singer would go like, oh, I fucked that up. That was a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's the imperfections of vocals that touch us.
And that's the beauty of it, right? It's that broken into beauty type of deal, where even the artist didn't realize that was going to happen, but in that moment, that passion came through, and it just gets you right in the boo-boo. And I love that. That's some of my favorite stuff. Absolutely. But you're absolutely right. Like, I would love to be able to sing Janis Joplin. I do not have her range. There's no way. I love that woman. I love her voice. I can't sing it. I can't do it. I tried. Yeah. And Aretha Franklin.
And that's the thing
about a soprano.
That's the thing about being a vocalist. It's not so much the what you know, it's how well you know yourself. Because you're a living instrument. You are, and what you put in your mouth to eat, and what you do to sleep, and how healthy you are, all that stuff contributes to your vocals, more so than like all of these, knowing all these crazy techniques and all that stuff. Because once you know what your limitations are, then you are able to find the music that works for you and really touch people, yeah? And again, what Miss High says here, Miss High is a perfect example of this. Every time I hear her sing, I just go, get the fuck out of here. What?
Exactly.
What?
Awesome.
There's, you can't bottle that shit, what Miss High has. That's soul. To me, that's what soul is, not some magical little thing that floats away when we pass over. It's the thing that
it's there.
It just comes out of you when you perform. That's soul to me.
Yep.
And I've heard you sing, and you are a little firecracker there, Justine.
Thank you.
And
I appreciate that.
We're going to hear more, aren't we, of you singing?
Yes. I'm working out some things I've downloaded OBS, but I have some sync problems. I wanted to publish a few things, but they're all out of sync. So I've got to figure out some things, but there's a few things I would love to be doing, and would I love to get a band together. It would be so much fun. I've always wanted to do that. Wow, so,
we've heard it
this is
first.
really exciting for me.
The checklist is already going, so I hope that happens.
Definitely. Anybody out there? Anyone?
Well, I think you're in the right place. This is
exactly
Collab Central. You know, God, everybody in this community, they're a bunch of musical sluts. I tell you.
I love them.
They're all
Love
whores.
it.
You're all whores out there. You're prostitutes. I love it.
Mr. Smith already put a drum track on the tune I did for Kurt, and then Gary Hubbs did the bass on it. So hint, hint, guys.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to be a big thing over this year. Let's play another song. Now we may go a little bit over time. Is that going to be okay with you today? Because
That's fine.
And of course,
what I'm doing.
I'm sure everyone here is going to be okay. You've all got nowhere else to go, do you? So
What you gonna be doing?
There's nothing on directly after this. So I'm going to pick another song that you've chosen at random. We're gonna go with. Speaking of, you just mentioned Mr. Smith, and let's play one of his songs. So you've chosen this song by Mr. Smith called "Slowly Dissolving." Tell us why.
This one is so catchy, and it's in my head constantly. So I think when I was choosing songs, this particular song was just in my head. And just for the record, I will put Mr. Smith's channel on and run all of the videos when I'm at work and just play them all. So I love every single thing he does, honestly, and have since I got in this community. So this is just right now, this is my favorite Mr. Smith tune.
Yeah, I got to give him a shout out too, because he sent me a message yesterday just saying, well done, Jade, for coming back out and being who you are, and for because he knows my deal, hiding it all lately and all the shit. Anyway, whatever. Here we are. We're back. Fucking tits. All this stuff. So let's play this. This is Slowly Dissolving by Mr. Smith. Are you ready to oge, folks? I'm ready to oge. Let's oge.
Superheroes and no Batman. And my own salvation sits in my hands. Maybe there's some heaven or some kind of hell. Which way I'm going, I just can't tell, just can't tell. It's nothing to do with magic. No, it's nothing to do with magic. The price I paid is tragic. Here I go, slowly dissolving. There is no Neverland, and I'm no Peter Pan. Life slips through my fingers like grains of sand. If there's a heaven or some afterlife, what have I got to do to get it right, get it right? It's nothing to do with magic. It's nothing to do with magic. The price I paid is tragic. Here I go, slowly dissolving.
Smith with Slowly Dissolving. Great song.
Awesome. So
Awesome.
good.
All the stuff you've chosen today, awesome artists. We got more to come. And let's do this because we've got to do this. I've run it a bit late. We're going to run our ad every day on the show. We run an ad halfway through from YouTube because they've got to pay the bills and all that stuff. So I'm going to click the ad. You can see, if you get an ad, because you may not, most people don't, you can just hit the little button, skip it, and come back. We'll wait for you to come back. And while we're waiting, I just need to do a couple of advertisements while we're here because tomorrow, we conclude episode 6, season 5 of A Walk With Me. And it's all waiting. I'm just looking at it now. The video's processing at the moment. And at the end of this show, you may get dumped over there, but the video's still processing. It is a nearly 70 gigabyte upload, 4K, 2-hour episode. And look at that view. That's where I went to Queenscliff and Sorrento. Absolutely beautiful place. There you go. Look at some of these views from where I went. Look at this stuff. It's just gorgeous. And I had that whole beach to my fucking self. So that is happening tomorrow after Valerie Butt's show that she does every week, her musical performance. And also this week on the opening hour is this. We're doing some love songs. I'm going to sing some love songs because it's Valentine's Day and all that jazz. Anyway, ad's done. Let's get back down to action because the one thing I've learned about you, which I didn't know, and I just love, I love researching. And I have a great researcher out there. Her name is Ali. Ali
Girl.
Gatilla has done so much research for me to understand more about you. Now, I regard Brad Example as quite a good, knowledgeable person when it comes to punk music.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you are also up there on a level that I had no idea. You just are a massive punk fan. And
I love it. Yeah.
what was it that got you into punk and the whole movement and all of that? Because for a time you kind of were way in it and then you kind of moved on and moved around. Tell us how you got into punk and why you love it.
It was kind of a slow progression. So when I was in middle school, I got into the Violent Femmes, and I just bought the album in 7th grade. We'd heard the music, I loved it, I had to have the whole album. And then, I did exactly what I told you. I wrote the whole thing out on a t-shirt. I wore the album out. From there, I got into some of the British stuff like Depeche Mode, The Cure. That led me on to, The Clash, appreciating that more. And then getting into New York punk is what I really got into. So the Ramones, Television, Blondie, X. X is one of my favorite bands in the punk scene. And then Minor Threat and all of those hardcore. So it just goes, it was like a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I went down and I just loved it. I loved it so much. I just kept going. And and the Cramps. I had my jacket's gone now, but for the longest time I had this leather jacket. I bought this leather. In fact, dang, I should have sent you this picture. I'm wearing this leather in the hallway of high school, and my friend Al snapped this picture. He was our photographer for our generation, I think. But I had this motorcycle leather, and my friend Jared painted Dead Elvis from the Cramps, Bad Music for Bad People, had painted that on the back.
Yeah.
And everybody loved it. I used to go down, my brother used to take me down to blues shows downtown. I was 16. I'm wearing this jacket. I'm all punked out. I have purple hair, and we would be backstage. He knew the band. And I love your jacket. That's so cool. Thank you. Thank you. It's somewhat Detroit famous people telling me they like my clothes. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That's fresh. So yeah, but I mean, we lived at St. Andrews and in the Greystone and all, Blondie's 21 when we could get snuck in there. All the punk shows, Paychecks. It was a great time. It was a great time to be alive and grow up, really, and be able to take out your teenage angst and aggression on other teenage angst, aggression people. Great.
The one thing about punk that was so enticing back then, and it was not a great music, but it was like checks and balances for the world. It was like they were writing music that was holding people accountable. It was probably the first real music that focused on politics and that kind of stuff. Because my first band that I joined never did anything or recorded. I was like really young, 14 years old, and got invited into this punk band that was jamming. They needed a singer. They'd heard me at an all ages gig get up and sing, and I was singing with these adults just going, "Fuck the government, fuck give," and I'm like, I don't even know anything about politics. And but it got me into politics. But there's a real angst with punk, and it kind of is a gateway drug to so much music. And it's one of the things I'll talk about here on the channel a lot, that when I say the danger in music has dissipated these days, I'm kind of more alluding that that's why punk was so important and so special. It was dangerous. It challenged ideals, and it confronted things with no abandon and just total balls to the wall. And a lot of today's music now is gutless. It's you know, every video clip has a fucking MacBook with an Apple logo somewhere, some kind of product placement. Could you imagine punk back then doing that? That would not fucking happen.
Oh my God, no! You'd been called a sellout.
Absolutely,
you'd have been told you were sold out. Yeah, I mean, there was a status quo that punk was going after, that we felt as a generation of people, I suppose, was crap. It doesn't make any sense. It's just a construct that people put out there. This doesn't really exist. And I think, punk, like Dada, it was kind of evident it was going to kill itself, but there was a point to it that, this status quo, it's stupid. Holding people to some kind of weird standard that nobody can really hold up to, I think, and for me, that's it's being real. There's my name again, The Real. But it fits, because what you see is what you get.
Punk was the first music I ever listened to that I heard bands getting banned. And I remember like one of my favorite bands, the Spermbirds, they weren't even allowed to play in America for a time because their songs are, about America sucks, Ronald Reagan's a prick and all this shit. So the entire band of the Spermbirds were German with an American singer, and he was just like, fuck America. And they got delegated to go and play gigs over in Germany in like storm drains and shit. They couldn't get any gigs because they were so fucking anti-American. I think they got a song called Americans Are Cool, and the lyric is Americans are cool, Americans are cool, Americans are cool. Bullshit. And it's just, but back then that was like, you can't say that. God,
it was a big no. And then that's stupid. You can't say that about America. Yeah. Really? Isn't that kind of anti-American?
Yeah. Could you imagine if they released that song now? If they released that song now, they would be totally God.
Yeah, they might go to jail. We'll send them to Guantanamo.
What the hell is going on? So
shipped right off.
So you're a massive punk fan. You met Kurt through punk. Was it through punk music that you met Kurt?
In a way, we met at a friend's house at Halloween. Right. We were in 9th grade. We had just started high school. And one of my best girlfriends decided just to have some people over. It was going to be our last time to trick or treat, right? And I wore that Violent Femme shirt. And I fancied myself a little punk rocker. I had my little,
sexy
this little
thing
tiny haircut with the bangs that went down to here, and and my Violent Femmes and my little boots and my jeans, and I wore I was the Queen of Hearts, Off With Your Head. And I thought I was cool, and apparently Kurt did too. So I didn't know I didn't know him at the time. I met him with his friend. Oh my God, his friend Andre, who I hated Andre. We all hated Andre. But and the only reason Andre lived was because of Kurt. So if Andre's out there, you need to thank Kurt because now it's open season. Um, this guy, he would walk by. He was the biggest poser. Okay, his parents adopted him and gave him everything. He had no reason to be a punk. He was given everything. He could go wherever he wanted. He had these fancy, I mean, those leather jackets cost a lot of money
Yeah.
back then. $100 was a lot of money for a kid back then. He had like 4 of them
Poser.
with the whole spike array and all of the painting on it. I was like, who's the poser? Really? Oh my God. But so he brings Andre with him, and Andre was the biggest star. He was really like a D&D geek. And he used to wear like pink polos and stuff.
Oh,
and
no.
he wanted to be cool like Kurt. So he started dressing the part, and he thought because he dressed like that, he was a punk. But he would tell me and Kurt that we were posers because we listened to Violent Femmes. We were posers.
Yeah, sure.
Nope. No, dude, I hate to tell you, but anyway. So I met him at Halloween with the Violent Femme shirt, and it turned out he lived just in the neighborhood across the street. And little beknownst to me that I learned not too long after meeting him, his dad beat him, basically. So he would come over to my house because my parents were sweet. They were older. They didn't like let me out of the house. That was my whole angst thing. I couldn't go to the mall without, my mom having a heart attack or having a chaperone with me sometimes. So it was hard. And the only people that my parents really trusted were my friends, Mark and Kurt. So I could go out with them. So they were saving grace to me too. So I was like, you come over anytime you want. I don't care. You can spend the night. You got a whole basement down there. There's a huge couch. There's TV. There's a pool table. You can hang out. And my mom, probably shouldn't say this. My mom gave him cigarettes and, so it was a nice place for him. He was all right. My parents owned smoke shops.
Yeah.
So she didn't care. As long as the kid was safe and in front of her, she didn't care.
Your mum was the
Yeah, that's
gateway
what she
drug
was
to everything
thinking.
that followed.
She was awesome. My mom was cool. I didn't realize how cool my mom was. She wouldn't do that with me, but she'd give my kids
Of course.
stuff. I'm like, but you won't let me go to come on, Mom. Give me a
Well, you
Jesus.
fell from
Anyway.
her legs, so that's a different story. I think we all had
That's right.
people in our lives. Like, there's a lot of people. I remember when I was a kid. My house was pretty good family. And I had a really close friend, Ray, and he always used to come and stay at my house like every weekend for years and years and years. And my other friends would go, "Why does your friend Ray stay at your house so much?" I'm like, "I don't know. I just think because we're friends and we hang out." And then one day I stayed at his house and I found out exactly why he stayed at my house a lot, because his parents were shit. They were assholes.
Yes.
to him. I think we've all had kind of people like that when we were growing up. So you rock for taking him in and getting him hooked on cigarettes.
He's adorable. Well, he was already hooked on
Yeah,
cigarettes.
right.
We didn't have to do that to him, but he was adorable. And the thing is that yes, he was adorable, and he was a player. He'd date everybody. He wasn't a cheater, right? But he would go date a girl for a couple months, dump her. Date a girl for a couple months, dump her. I'm like, oh, you're not going to do that to me, because I got to have you as a friend. You're my buddy. We would go out literally. Okay, our friend Mark had this. Okay, he had a Bronco, a real Ford Bronco, the brown Ford Bronco. Oh my God, I love that vehicle. But he would drive us around in it. He was a year older than us, so he had his license before we did. And back then, you could smoke in malls, right? Because you couldn't smoke a lot of places. So we smoked in the mall. We go to the mall, do the mall walking, and go and wreak some havoc there. I remember a few times we'd go to different malls just to mess with people. It was stupid. This was the 1980s. There was not a lot to do.
You used to be able to
Yeah, we
smoke
used to hang
fucking
out.
everywhere, really. Do you remember you used to be able to smoke on a fucking aeroplane?
Yeah, on an airplane, in restaurants, in
So
malls.
weird.
We did it all the time.
Yeah.
I remember this one time we were at this place called Oakland Mall, right? We're walking around, and they used to have ashtrays on top of the garbage cans. I don't know if you remember that, but we're at this one point, we're doing our mall walk and Kurt whips around and he did something. I don't remember what, but he knocked the ashtray right off this garbage can and made the worst noise. And the way he walked away was just like, do, 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 do. I didn't do that. I didn't see anybody do that. Who did that? Yeah, we would just, yeah. Anyway, so we hung out practically every day.
Yeah.
He was my best bud. I wasn't letting go of him over a kiddie relationship. So that's,
But
kids.
at some point, things changed. Music changed. We moved into another era. I remember when that era changed too. We went from, and I was a big Slayer fan, listened to all metal and all this kind of stuff, and late 80s and all that kind of stuff, mid 80s to late 80s. And all of a sudden we hit the 90s and something like, I do believe that music moves in cycles. I like to call it how I work it out is through wrestling, through WWE. Where back in the 70s, WWE was all really stodgy, kind of fatty old guys who looked like they were fake punching everything. And it was kind of like stodgy. Ugh. And the 70s was that kind of for music for me because I was young. Then the 80s was Hulk Hogan and feather boas and everything was so crazy. And that was the cocaine period. And then we got to the 90s. And that was the attitude era for WWE where everything was just crazy, stripping on in the ring. But it was heroin and it was angst and it was grunge music. It was like this huge come down from the 80s. Everybody was so coked out on the 80s that we hit the 90s and went, man, I think we need some heroin and we need to be angry at the world for a bit. And Kurt Cobain led that charge. And so punk being your thing, and then all of a sudden grunge takes off, and you've mentioned a lot of artists that you obviously like from grunge, and so you get into this and you move. You take a big journey, don't you, during this time? You move away.
I did a weird jog. I did a weird, well, both me and Kurt did. So punk in Detroit, like literally like committed suicide. It just like jumped off a bridge one day and it wasn't here anymore. There were no bands anymore. And, being kind of in a counterculture, well, where do you go? We were looking around and we saw the Deadheads. We were like, that looks like fun. Let's go over there for a minute. So we went over and started listening to music. And I really started to appreciate Jerry. Jerry is awesome. Got in the scene. It's a fun scene, but it's not me. It wasn't me. I met a lot of great people. There's some amazing times. Kurt even toured it. He jumped in a microbus with our friend Adam and his brother Scott, who's literally a psychopath. And he traveled a whole summer out west and did the Dead shows. And he did the bracelets. He would braid the bracelets and they sold the Jerry Jasper tie-dyes and did that whole scene. And it's fun, but it gets old after a while, and that isn't who we were.
Yep.
So I had discovered grunge actually back in 88 or 89. I was at our record shop, Flipside Records, and you know how we were talking, you'd buy an album for what the cover looked like. I bought this compilation album and it was called Deep Six. And I still had it at my house, but it's old and it's got this green, icky green cover with like a black background. It's just this Deep Six, and it's got Soundgarden and Green River and the Melvins on it. I'm like, oh, it's Seattle. Yeah, I hear Seattle's got a pretty cool scene. That's exactly it. And I'm gonna buy this. Malfunction, yep, Skin Yard. It's that album changed my life. I loved that music. I was like, oh my God. And at that time I was like, oh, I'd love to like go there. I want to go there. You know, I felt drawn to that place. And so going on, I ended up moving up north with my boyfriend at the time. He built a golf course up north,
What?
and I moved up there with him. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He built a golf course in the South Shore of Hubbard Lake. It's still there too. You can go play golf there. It's called White Pines National. It's really nice.
Who builds a golf
Um,
course apart from that orange weirdo?
Oh God, this family. Yeah, my ex-boyfriend, his family was they were greenskeepers.
Right.
And so they were head greenskeepers at these big golf courses. One was Detroit Golf Club, the other one's called Treetops. So they made a lot of money and they pulled their money together and bought a bunch of land, 80 acres on the South Shore of Hubbard Lake, that's where they had their, cabins when they grew up, these as kids. So they bought all this land and built a freaking golf course. And it was neat. I mean, it's neat. I ate a pound of dirt, or at least 3, going there, dealing with actually constructing the thing. And one thing I learned about northern Michigan, it is full of rock. And that is why they build houses out of them.
Right.
I think there was like a 10-story one they had to dig out of one of the holes of the greens. So that was crazy that day. But anyway, there was nothing to do up there, right? And so one of the only things to do was to go into the city, which was 30 miles north, Alpena, and go to the pawn shop because they had records. Thank God. And I would look through those, and I got for $8, I got the Soundgarden Bad Motor Finger CD. And I had known this was out, and I was excited. I was like, yes, I got it for $8. Hell yeah. And I took that home and immediately wore it out. I obsessed over that CD. I listened to it coming up north while I was up north and going back down. And then my friend had the single soundtrack, so we were listening to the crap out of that. And I was just like, oh my God, from the Deep Six album into Bad Motorfinger, Soundgarden had progressed in their sound so much. And I was just like really impressed by those bands. And Alice in Chains and Lane Staley's voice. Nobody had heard that kind of voice ever before, Lane. That was exciting.
Yeah.
And so that music, I just so drawn to there, So in 94, right after Kurt Cobain committed suicide.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
yeah, I got theories about that. Well, and part of that is what formed is how I went out there. I drove out there with my ex-boyfriend. I told him I want to go. I'm going. I'm taking my vacation. I'm driving out there. And I just bought a new, it was like a Jeep type vehicle. It's a Mitsubishi Montero. And I just bought this and I'm like, we're going on a road trip. And I have a cousin out there in Washington. She was in Riverside, which is about an hour and a half south of the Canadian border. I was like, we can go up, visit her, and then come down to Seattle and check it out. And my ex had really good friends that lived there in Seattle. So it's like, well, let's go visit them. So we did the whole ride across the country, through Chicago, across the Mississippi. We went through the Black Hills. We stopped and camped out at Mount Rushmore. That's actually a pretty kind of cool place. Went through the Indian reservations of Montana. That's a huge ass state. Don't ever drive the panhandle of Idaho unless you want to have a heart attack. The mountains there are ridiculous. Oh my God, I'd never do that again. And then into Washington, up, and we spent the night at my cousin's place, and then we went down to Seattle, and it was awesome. And I met a ton of people. I still talk to a couple of them today. Went to the bars that all the bands played at. I saw the Jesus Lizard at Mo. That was fun. They were crazy. And it was just a cool town. It was neat. And I stayed out at one of the islands. I can't remember the name of it because it wasn't the big one. It wasn't Bainbridge, but it was one of the smaller ones. I got to stay out there. So, good times.
It's
I followed it. It was awesome.
It's the one place I am upset that I didn't go to when I lived in America for 2 years. I mean, I lived in Minneapolis, and look, that music scene in Minneapolis is fucking amazing. I was blown away at. It reminded me a lot of here in Melbourne, like because I was there for 2 years, so I got to experience those wonderful winters. wow, never had my
Wow.
eyeballs actually freeze solid. That was amazing.
Like, why do I live where the wind hurts my face?
Yeah, but I couldn't believe it. I would go
Why?
out to a metal gig there on a Tuesday night. You walk out the door and your eyeballs are icicles, and there's still 300 people at this small shitty gig for these shitty fucking local bands. I'm like, this has got to be what Seattle's like. And I really wanted to go to Seattle and didn't get to. But my experience with grunge, one of the first, I guess, grunge bands, you can call them that, was Mudhoney for me. And I fucking love Mudhoney so much. I was lucky enough when I was in high school, we were doing a fanzine for a school project, and I'd already interviewed Slayer and Metallica and done all these big bands on the phone. Excuse me. But I got Mudhoney toured Australia, and I got to go and meet them as a 17-year-old kid, you know. And we went to their sound check at the Old Greek Theatre here, and they were so nice. They were such sweet guys. And Mark Arm was just like, "Come back to our hotel." We're like, "What the fuck?" Me and my
Wow.
friend, we went back to their hotel. We jumped in a spa bath with them and ate pizza with them. And we're
That's so cool.
because we couldn't go to the gig because it was an over 18s gig. They got us into the venue at 17 years old, and that was one of the first times I went to a serious over 18s big gig and drank beer with my friend. And at the end of the gig, they were so sweet. They were like, "Oh, look, we don't have many T-shirts left, but we've got a T-shirt for you." And there was two of us, and so we're like, "Oh, spewing, we're gonna have to fight over this T-shirt." And we were out so late, there were no more trains home, so we had to walk 3 hours to get home, and we were carrying this T-shirt. And halfway through the walk, I was like, "You know, these T-shirts are really thick material." And then I realized there were two T-shirts in there. I was like, "Oh man!" And so Mudhoney became my favorite band of all time for so long.
That's so cool. I love
So
them. They're great.
There's my grunge story. So you stay in Seattle. You're in this whole scene. Things change, and you decide to skedaddle and head back, and that creates a major event in your life.
That was crazy. So we were coming back, and it was a long trip, you know. And I remember I was talking about the panhandle of Idaho, and this is why I'll never drive through it again. I drove that thing at night. I was tired as hell with these huge Mack trucks passing you. And these trucks out there are like 3 or 4 trucks long, and they're hooked together. And so I was white knuckling this thing the whole way. And my ex is sleeping, and he was dead to the world. I finally the sun had risen. I pulled over somewhere in Montana, and I said, I can't drive anymore, and I don't think you should either. You're too tired. I think we should sleep. And he wanted to become, he was a big guy. Everybody told him he looked like Hulk Hogan, my ex Larry.
Yeah, brother.
And he had that blonde hair. It was real straight. He was this big guy. He's like 6'1". And he wanted to become a bodyguard. So he had been studying karate at all these different places. And he had gotten with this one gentleman who was in a line with Bruce Lee, had learned in a line with Bruce Lee, basically. So he was excited about training with this person, and he wanted to get there by a certain time. Well, I said, we shouldn't be driving. He's like, "But we're not going to make, getting to Minneapolis." And I said, "We won't make it. We won't make it. We'll be alive." And he's like, "No, I can do it." And I didn't want to argue with him. And like a dummy, I should have just sat down, but I didn't. I went with him. He's like, "You can sleep." And he said something weird to me. He said to me, "You have to wear your seatbelt because if anything happens, you have to make it." I kind of looked at him like, okay, whatever. I put my seatbelt on. I fell asleep. And the next thing I knew, I felt a tipping. You know how it's a weird feeling, like, like you're in the air or in an airplane, and how an airplane tips. That's kind of what I felt, like taking air, right? And I looked at the clock and I saw it was 10:30 something. And I literally said to Larry, "What the fuck are you doing?" And that was it. The car flipped and flipped and flipped and flipped. And I don't remember the flipping, but I remember being on the side of the road and I couldn't move because my pelvis had been broken
Fuck.
and a hole put through my foot. Yeah, my dog was in the car. She was like extra, agile, and that dog made it. She made it. She was fine. Don't know how. She must have gotten out of one of the windows that broke
Fucking
out.
dogs.
She was great.
Look,
She
they've
was
got
awesome.
they've got magical powers, Justine. They can eat their own
I
shit.
swear.
They can eat their own shit.
Especially
so-
this one. She was white with one brown eye and one blue eye. She was beautiful. Percy. But Larry, he caught it in the diaphragm. So he was actually walking around, but he couldn't talk. He had busted his diaphragm.
Right.
As soon as the paramedics laid him down, he suffocated. So he did a fatal car accident. And I was stuck in Montana for what was it? Until July. So it was at least a month there. And I had been put in a form of traction. Now, what they do, kind of, I don't know if anybody's seen the Bruce Lee movie about his life, but he was in traction back in the 70s, and they had to put you couldn't move, and you had to be on this board, and they flipped him up and down. They didn't do that with me. They put this thing called an external fixator on you, and it's gross, but it works really well because they get you walking. So I walked earlier than I, probably would have without it. And I had some thankfully good doctors there, and they got me walking again. So that was about 6 months of recovery from that, and losing my partner then too to that car accident. So that was crazy. It was a whole bizarre time of my
holy
life,
shit.
and really changed my life. Yeah. And in that, I got with my other ex. Yeah, that's what that looks like. Yeah, on an arm. Mine was on my pelvis.
Right.
So it caused all kinds of problems. I had to have surgery while I was awake, and oh yeah, it was good stuff. I don't recommend it. 0 stars. Absolutely no stars on that one. Okay. Experience.
Oh, oh my god. You got
Okay. The cool thing is, it was funny. Not funny. I guess it's kind of funny. I have a twisted sense of humor from this.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm on this floor, and I'm on like an ICU floor, right? But I have my cognitive abilities still. Most of the people on that floor didn't. They were
Right.
brain injury, and I wasn't. So all the nurses would gather in my room. Okay, this is the sane person. This is the person that could talk. And they were so cool to me. They brought me everything. I could have whatever I wanted. They were so sweet to me. I met some really good people there. So oddly,
I mean,
still took some good out of it.
when those things happen, like, it's shit, right? You can't deny it. Everybody, we all empathize and know. Similar, not the same thing, but similar. I got really sick when I was somewhere I didn't live. When you're not in the place, because this on top of all that shit that you've had to go through, when you're in a state that I don't live here and you're in some hospital, you don't even have your friends to come and see you and that kind of stuff. It's just, what do I, and you constantly, like, I don't know if you were like this. I remember when I was in hospital here and out of state, and I was there for months going, what the fuck happens when I get out of here? How do I get to fucking home? What's left for? What's going on at my house? I don't even know.
That's exactly it. Yeah.
It's such
Yeah, it was
added pressure.
crazy.
Yeah. And to
Yeah.
lose someone as
Well,
well.
Yeah, I lost Larry. My mom came out there. She spent pretty much the whole time with me, and I went back and lived with her. And I went back to my job, which was a bank teller, and just tried to live it out. I actually ended up moving out of my mom's house right after that into an apartment, getting on my own, trying to just get back on my feet. Unfortunately, I had somebody I thought that was a good person. I dated for a very long time and shouldn't have. I had known him in high school, actually, too. Just like Kurt. I had met him. He was 4 years older than me. but he was in band and he would come back and I knew him, and he had a lot of younger friends, so they knew him. And you think you know somebody and you start dating them, and you find out you don't know somebody. So that's what happened to me.
Let's play a song because I mean, this is another heavy part of your life story. But from here, this is where, to me, what I see is from here, I would have, gone, you know what? I think I'm going to lay back for a while, just give up. But you didn't do that. You didn't do that. And we're going to cover that in a second, folks. So I want you to hang out and hear the continued story after we come back. But you've chosen another song here by our good friend Son of Snake, who's been on this show. I've interviewed him. Tell us what you love about this song. This is Bags of Bone and Flesh and Son of Snake.
I was listening to this yesterday, and it's definitely listen to the lyrics. It's kind of cathartic for me. I think this song, because especially in light of Kurt dying and all of this being bags of bones and flesh, yet we're a lot more, and that's what I take from this song. I love it.
Yeah, both so Chris and Ellie, his partner, both inspire me heaps. So let's get to it. You ready to oge, folks? This is Bags of Bone and Flesh by our friend Son of Snake. Let's do a boom. When you speak of musicians who have remained true to their craft, there is nobody else in this community who is true to their craft as Son of Snake. He is
Amen.
he is old school and lives it and loves it and is so deep, and he's just super, super fucking talented and
He's a
amazingly
breath of fresh air.
amazingly prolific too, to write always such good
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
too. Yeah.
Really good. Yeah.
We love Son of Snake.
He was, I had to have a Son of Snake tune, and I went through it, but that one was perfect. It
Yeah.
really was.
And there's been a whole lot of people join us since. I'll try and get some call outs going. Rebel Rockers, see you. If you're new and I haven't called you out, throw something in the chat. Zach Thong. Who else have I missed? There's a few people. Let me scour. Mixed Club. I don't think I said hi to you. Balls.
Red balls.
Balls to Mixed Club. Angela G. Russian Steel. Cat
Angela.
J.
That's my sister-in-law.
Hello. Am I doing all right? Am I doing all right representing my dear friend? You know what? And it is Valentine's Day here in Australia. And guess who is my Valentine's Day? Guess who is my Valentine today? My Valentine is Justine. Because my partner pulled out on coming here today. So you were always going to be my Valentine today. So you are my Valentine.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I know. It's awesome. And we get to do it from across the other side of the world. So throw some love hearts in the chat, you weirdos.
So amazing.
For me and Justine, we're in Louvre. There's Laurie's Mishmosh is here as well. I can't forget you. Who else have I missed out on? Jerry Gomes, I saw you come in there.
Jerry.
Thank you all for hanging out. You guys are rock for coming here and supporting today's show. We are going to go into overtime because normally the show's over right about now, but we're going into fucking overtime because there's so much more we're going to fucking cover, and I don't give a shit today. There's no one following me directly over the next hour, so we have an extra hour if you're all into it, my friends. Falcon Blueser, g'day to you. There's Falcon Blueser.
Yay,
Another one who performed on, we'll talk about that. We'll get to that. So
good.
So now you face all this shit thrown at you. You're basically got a metal contraption putting you all back together. You lose somebody, you're moving back, and just total upheaval. Most people would have just given up and gone, you know what, fuck this. I've had enough. This is bullshit. But you get back, you heal, you get back into work, you go to college.
Yeah, that was fun. So yeah, my ex Joel, okay, he was an English major, right?
Yeah.
And he fancied himself like the smartest person in the world. And I would just look at him like, no, you're not. No, you're not. I could do this, right? And I don't have a degree yet. I needed to go get a degree so I could, move up in my career. I basically built my own career at the bank. So I worked for several different banks, sitting in one place. But I'd gone from just retail and being a teller to actually closing commercial loans. And at the time, we did pretty much everything. We closed the loan, we serviced it, we did all of it, right? So, but that's evolved now into now I just close the loan and I fund it. So back in those days, I basically wrote that job, but I still needed a degree to get paid better. I was doing a job and really just not getting compensated for it. I had to go get the piece of paper. Well, I've been doing finance and banking. I'm not going to learn any more about that. I've been in it. And my dad always told me, you should go learn Latin. And he knew me real well. I'm just like my dad. And so I said, okay, I like history. I could learn languages. I like it. I'm going to go learn Latin.
Just go learn Latin.
And it was a harder degree than Joel's degree, English. Come on.
Latin's
Give me
crazy.
a break.
Latin's like Japanese.
It was like, okay, so it's like there's classical Latin, right? Which is what I learned. And there's ecclesiastical Latin, which is what all the Catholic Bibles are written in, right?
Yep.
And that is actually, that grammar is closer to English, the ecclesiastical Latin.
Yep.
The classical Latin, it's nothing like English at all. In fact, they did something mean to us. They taught us in these books to read Caesar. And Caesar in Latin's boring. It's mainly, war strategy, and how he conquered things. He wasn't a very interesting writer. So my wonderful professors decided they would go from teaching us to read Caesar, but we're not going to read Caesar. We're going to read Cicero. And Cicero was like the James Joyce of Latin. The guy wrote such complex sentences and ideas. I had a group of people, I think it was 5 or 6 people, we were Latin partners. We would sit in an apartment and we would swear at the text. God damn it, where's the verb? Because the verb is at the end of the sentence. So these sentences looked paragraphs long, right? And we're sitting there going, where's the freaking verb? Oh my God, we're going to be here all night. And then we didn't know what passage he was going to pick for the test. And we always pick the wrong passage. Oh my God, it was like torture.
But
no,
I see Latin, right? And I'm like, because first I thought you actually learned just to read it. But that's,
well, no, you read it.
But then
you don't really speak it.
No,
it's dead language.
Yeah. Well, you don't go into a Starbucks and order a coffee in Latin, do you? Yeah.
Well, unless you want to act like you're summoning a demon, it's kind of funny.
Oh, don't mention demons. Oh, I got called one yesterday. I got called a demon yesterday, and I was like,
God, please.
I was like, really?
You haven't seen anything yet, please.
I mean, you haven't seen my sex tapes. So, hold that coffee. But not only that, so Latin, what is a feminist philologist? Is that how I say it? What is that?
Oh, it's fun. Okay, so philology is classics.
Yes.
Right. That's what the old men call it, right? And that's all they used to do, classics, are old men. If you think about the founding fathers of America, they were the first ones, they were the first ones to translate anything out of Latin.
Right.
So your original Latin translations that you read in books were from your founding fathers just going to school.
Right.
So it was all like old men, and all your translations of Livy and all your Roman authors are by men. They're not by women. So when I was going to school, now we have women doing the translating. Ha ha ha. So now we get to translate it our way. And that's what where the feminist comes in.
Right.
So I had a professor at the woman I did my writing intensive with, Jenny Moss. She was doing a feminist translation of Livy, which was awesome. And I wish I had that book.
I'm sure there's
Jenny, if you're out there.
I'm sure there's some people quietly watching this going, it all sounds too woke for me. It's
just different.
And all I can say to you is, well, wake the fuck up. Stop sleeping. Calligraphy.
Oh, yeah. That's a passion of mine. I did that when I was 7 years old. Started that when I was 7.
And you're still doing it?
I got a couple of calligraphy sets. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do it just freehand for fun. I do like Celtic knotwork. I joke that I used to be probably in a past life a little monk with mole eyes with a candle, just pinning putting pins through, making graphs and doing Celtic knotwork all day long. I could do that. I just love it. I did some pieces when Kurt wanted to get a sleeve. I did some animal stuff and knotwork for him. We were going to put on his arm. Unfortunately, it never got done. But
when I hear mole man, I just think of
yeah, exactly. That was me in a past life with a candle, a little monk, little ink. Yeah, I did that.
What is it about calligraphy that floats your boat? Is it the accomplishment? What is it? Yeah, there's always something that pulls you back to it.
Yeah, as a little kid, I found solace in it. Right. I like doing alphabets. It's like a meditation for me. It gets me in my right brain. Creativity. There's something about language and letters with me. I love it. And I can pick up languages. When I was in the Netherlands and in Amsterdam, I started picking up Dutch. And my ex Joel was like, how do you know what that says? It's like, it's not that hard. We've been here a few days. You don't get it? But it speaks to me, and it's and to adorn the letters and look at these books of hours, which were prayer books done by monks. Basically, they were commissioned by rich people from these monks to do them. That's how monks made their money, um, way back in the feudal days, right? So it's just something about that art and the intricacy of it. It's like a meditation for me, and I love it. And so if I want to get away from the world and into myself, that's what I'll do. I'll sit with literally some graph paper, plot some lines, and see where it goes. It's fun.
It's an art that is, like many things, disappearing. Like these days, calligraphy is just, I'll just download a font. And
It's a bummer, but there's no character in it. It's just a
it's
fun.
like streaming fucking music, isn't it? It's
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very much. Very much. You're losing the human element of it. There's something, like we said earlier, there's something to be said about errors and something that's imperfect or impermanent. Like I've always been, my calligraphy carried me over to graffiti. I love graffiti. I really dig it. I have a
yeah,
lot of friends that are graffiti artists that are amazing.
yeah.
I would love to be able to do stuff like that, you know. They've gone everywhere and done building.
Uh-oh, we lost her. She'll, let's see if she comes back. So, am I still live? I'll just make sure I'm still live. We've lost her. Maybe I'll have to call her back. We'll see what goes on. If she's not back, make sure I'm still live. Give me a holler if I'm still live. I think I am. Everything looks all right. If not, I'll give her a message and shoot her a message and see if she can rejoin the call. Let's try that. It's all right. We're live. We can do magic here. So what I'll do is I'll shoot her a message. She could still be talking. I can't drop her. Oh, she's gone. So she'll probably rejoin the call. Hang on, we'll come back to me. She'll rejoin the call. I'll send her a message on Facebook and just say rejoin. Or she could have lost her internet. Who knows what goes on? These things happen. We'll give her a second and shoot her a message. Oh, man, does anyone else hate the new thing where you got to type in a passcode to go to your messages on Messenger? It sucks. Restoring messages, Justine. Oh, the power went out. The power has gone out. Keep going. What? You want a double? I'm seeing double. So her power's gone out. She's just messaged me. I love this show. Let me. Rock and roll. Well, of course you locked yourself out of Messenger because we've got a song to play. We can play a song and see if the power comes back on. Of course it happened. You know, that's it. So this is what happens, you guys in America. You're too busy worried about trans people, and you should be worried about your fucking power grid. Fuck's sake! Trans people aren't going to change the price of eggs, you weirdos. Anyway, so shall we play a song while we wait? So hopefully she'll be able to come back because she's obviously on her phone right now. She may even be able to join on her phone. I don't know if she's watching this. She probably may be able to do it. So let's play a song. This is another selection that she selected. A selection that she selected. Listen to me. So this is Valerie Bart. And Valerie Bart, I think I can speak for Justine here for a second. There's something very magical about Valerie Bart. I have a massive soft spot for Valerie Bart. And the reason that is because she doesn't get too involved in what's going on day to day in the community of, you know, she's not at every show either. She doesn't come, she's not in all the chats as well and stuff like that. But she's like a mother hen to me. I can't miss her shows, even though when she starts, I'm in bed. It's like a crazy time o'clock for me when Valerie performs, and I'm in bed and I'm like, I got to get up at 5 a.m. just to watch Valerie. And people just want to flock around her and just chat and just type stuff. And on one of her shows, she just reads out comments and just hangs out with us all. And we all we push her limits sometimes by writing some controversial stuff, urban. And she copes. And then she does these shows where she just plays music, and she's an amazing musician. And I think she touches a lot of us with her music, and she's super creative and very inspiring. So that's the reason I think that Justine chose Valerie. So I'm going to play this song and see how we go with Justine coming back. And hopefully her power comes back on and all that stuff. So enjoy. This is another one of my favorite Valerie Bart songs. This is called Colorado Moonshine. So let's play this. Chill out, folks. Grab yourself a beverage and enjoy. Let's do it. Let's go. This is Valerie Bart.
This next song is called Colorado Moonshine. It's based off that idea that we get over 300 days of sun here in Colorado, which I'm not sure if it's true or not, but there's a song about it. The 300 summer days of sun, well, I don't need a single one. Lord gave me that Colorado moonshine. I sleep all day and I'm up all night. Don't worry about me none, I'm feeling alright. Lord gave me that Colorado moonshine. Colorado moonshine, baby, won't you be mine? From Steamboat to Salida, across the Great Divide. Colorado moonshine, baby, won't you be mine? You can climb a peak 2 miles tall. If I've seen one, I've seen them all. Lord gave me that Colorado moonshine. Still that match to the flame turns blue just like my daddy taught me to. Lord gave me that Colorado moonshine. Colorado moonshine, oh baby, won't you be mine? From Steamboat to Salida, across the Great Divide. Colorado moonshine, baby, won't you be mine? Well, I don't need nothing but a good home brew and a big full moon. And I need you to love me, oh, to love me. With 300 summer days of sun, I don't need a single one. Lord gave me that Colorado moonshine. I sleep all day and I'm up all night. Don't worry about me none, I'm feeling alright. Lord gave me that Colorado moonshine. Colorado moonshine, oh baby, won't you be mine? From Steamboat to Salida, across the Great Divide. Colorado moonshine, baby, won't you be mine? Baby, won't you be mine? Baby, won't you be mine? Baby, won't you be mine?
She's back.
Welcome to Detroit. Oh, the grid.
Yeah, I know. You need Elon to like make a giant battery for you or something.
Well, I think he did. My brother does have a generator. So
Right.
thanks to my brother, I am back on.
Hey, you know what? And here's the thing, folks. Never panic in a live stream.
That's
So
right.
just chilled. You just move to the song and just hope for the best. Keep in communication. The minute you panic, you're showing fear. Never show fear. Ever show
Never.
fear. What is it about Valerie Bart that made you choose that song?
I absolutely love her voice. I love everything about Valerie. She is so cool and sweet and bubbly, and I love that song. There's that the melody and everything about that tune is just great. It's always in my head, and I always have to sing it when she plays it.
She's like a mother hen to me. I was saying that while you were gone. I said, I even though I'm asleep and it's normally 4 a.m. for me, I still set the alarm just to get up to watch it twice a week. And I should
know,
be
she's
asleep,
great.
but I just can't help it. It's Valerie. I've had her on this show so many times. You know, she's performed live
It's
on
so
here.
fun.
I just love her heaps. So
Yes.
we're around this point. We're going to talk around this point here. So 2016.
Oh yeah, good
This
year.
So you moved away, had all this tragedy. You come back, you fight back, you reconnect with this guy again. How does this
Yeah.
happen?
Oh wow. Okay, so I graduated from college finally in 2016. I had taken some time off. I had one class to take, and I was going downtown and back. We had one car. It was a pain in the ass, and I remember just struggling trying to complete this class. And at that point, I was already contemplating kicking my ex out because he was driving me crazy. He was literally, it was awful. He wouldn't get a job. I was the only one working. I was going to school. I was doing all of it, and he was sitting on his duff. And so it was driving me crazy.
Duff
And he
man.
was being a jerk to me on top of the whole thing. It wasn't even like he was nice to me or did anything around the house. He'd just sit like a bump on the log, you know, and do absolutely nothing. And he had a master's degree and did absolutely nothing with it. It was like, I just don't respect this person anymore. You know, there's like no love here anymore. It was kind of sad, but I was trying to figure out a way to get out of that relationship. And something had dawned on me. I don't know what it was. I had finally graduated. I finally got my degree, right? Even cum laude, I graduated. So I guess I saw something on Facebook or something, like I'm calling Kurt. I don't know what it is. I have to call him. And so I Facebook messaged him and dialed him up there. And he's like, here's my actual phone number. Call me now. And I said, okay. And I did. And I called him right up and we talked for hours. Just like, and it wasn't like we missed a step. You know, it was just like the old days. We just talked and talked and talked. And the funny thing about Kurt is the only person he ever talked on the phone with was me. And that was back from the old days. You know, that was back from being in high school. I am the only person he ever really talked to on the phone. So it was just like old times. And so we decided, we had been talking for months. And finally, I got him to get together with me months like this. So it was December 2016. I started talking to him and I kept talking to him. And he told me one day in February that he loved me and that, you know, he regretted all this stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, shut up. You are not telling me that right now. This is a dangerous thing to say. You know, I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm getting rid of the ex. And the sad thing is that was like around his birthday too, my ex's birthday. Oops. But I didn't get together with Kurt until this was a big date for us, was the 11th of March. In the band 311, it's just a weird thing. Like whenever, for some weird reason, back in the 90s, whenever I heard 311, I would think of Kurt. And there was no reason why I would think of him in 311, but for some reason I would think of him. And when we got back together, he started talking about the band 311. I'm like, you do not love that band, do you? He's like, I love that band. I'm like, okay, that's just weird because every time I hear those songs, I think of you. And then we got together on 311. We went and had dinner with some friends, and that's
You went
where
out on
it
311 and had dinner.
Yes, we had dinner at this place called Public House, as a matter of fact, where we used to frequent after that. Yep. We went, it happened to be the 11th of March.
Wow.
And it was just, it all kind of pulled together, you know, like
Yeah.
numerologically. So we always celebrated our anniversary as 311. And then we also had, you know, our wedding anniversary, which was 713. But 311 was more like a real anniversary date because it had that meaning, you know? So a couple days later, I kicked my ex out. Did.
See a
And
narcissist.
was shocked.
Fucking-
He was literally shocked. You know what? I was just
They
looking for an
always
excuse,
are.
honestly.
They always are the ones who are like that. Like, I'm the same. I can't be in a relationship with somebody who just does fuck all. It's like you have to have
No, it
some
was a
drive.
waste.
I'm such a driven person myself, but at the same time lazy, right? You know, I'm not driven to the. But man,
Right.
everybody has so much potential, and I think that's more the thing, isn't it, Justine? You look at the person, and it's not like you despise them for this. It's like, oh, you're missing so much. You could be so much more.
Uh-huh. I was angry at him. Okay, I don't know if you've ever heard of Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels.
Okay.
Devil with the blue dress on, with the devil with the blue dress on. Okay, he was a big rock star here. And this was his son that I was with.
Right.
So you had the whole hang up of, well, his dad really, his dad didn't want to pick him up when he was a kid. He had all these issues with his father being a rock star and blah, blah, blah. And then, it was kind of him competing because he was a guitar player. He had a band. He was very talented. I tried to manage the band. I tried to get them gigs. He would ruin it with his anger issues. He basically ruined that whole thing because he was a jerk, and he was a jerk to people. And he could, when you're in music, you kind of have to, deal with people a lot.
Yeah.
And he couldn't at any level. And it made me angry at him because he was so talented and wasted all of it, and just sat there writing D&D stories. Like, you could at least sell those, Oh,
You've mentioned
you can write music.
you got a thing.
You can do all this stuff.
You got a thing against D&D, don't you?
I actually love D&D. I played D&D.
I'm like, hang on, you mentioned twice today. Maybe it's just
I know.
his D&D.
Yeah, it's them. It was just them. I love the game's great. I love D&D. I'll talk it up all day. I love that. That's how I bonded with my stepson. Actually, was D&D and gaming. But I don't respect that. That's all you do.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing something with that. Unless you're going out and writing games. I mean, I've known people that have done that and have been very successful, and it's awesome. But not just sitting there and then it goes absolutely nowhere. Don't you want it to go somewhere? There was, no motivation, no nothing. He had absolutely just wanted me to take care of him. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So get off your ass and get out.
Yeah, because time is
I
short.
got a whole nother life I want to live.
Exactly, yeah. And this has been the ongoing story of what you're telling us today, that time's short, man. And I feel the same way. Like, if I don't learn at least even the dumbest thing a day, like the most minute piece of information,
Right.
then I'm doing the living thing wrong. Right.
Yeah.
There's got to be some
I
kind
agree.
of advancement every single day, even if it's just like, oh, I cut my toenails today. It's an advancement. Like, even just getting out of bed is like something,
That's right. One thing at a time.
Yeah.
One step. But you took a step toward that.
Absolutely.
You did something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not just sat there.
Because you can't make magic. Like, you just can't change the world in an instant. Things take time. But to have a plan, to have some kind of aim or goal to get to is so important. And so many people are lacking it, just going, oh, I'm pretty happy just treading water, And he seems like that. So anyway, he's gone. The narcissist, off you go and sit on somebody else's couch.
Great, yes.
You're in with Kurt, and what happens? Is it a romance? Do you go to gigs? How does it happen? Like, what is
it was crazy. So I had my house and my ex was still there for a bit. So I was staying at Kurt's apartment.
Right.
And it was crazy. So what we would do is we would get a bug late at night, and go, you want to do something? Let's go dancing. Yeah. So we'd go back to my city, Ferndale, which was like 45 minutes away from his apartment. We didn't care. We drove there to this little place that used to be called Gracie's Underground, and they had rave music and DJs. And we would go there and dance all night. It was so fun. It's a great time. At one point, we had these people in a VIP booth. They were watching us dance and they were like, we've got to go, but we've got all this VIP stuff. Do you want the drinks in the VIP booth? We love you guys. We're giving it to you. We're like, hell yeah, that's great. So we got like this whole VIP booth for free and free drinks and everything just because people liked watching us dance because we felt like we were in high school again. You know, we were finally back together. Everything seemed right with the world. Like the planets were finally aligning correctly. It just felt so good, at that time. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Whirlwind romance type of deal.
It's fascinating how people react to that because we live in this world where people are very quick to look at something and go, look at them having a good time and judging. All right.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
and it's like most of the time it's like, you're only pissed because you don't have the balls to let your hair down and be that person. And instead it's like, oh, they're going to take the piss out of it. But again, and it even applies to music. You look at we talked about this before, some of the best music that resonates with us all has a vocal take in it that is just, they've gone for it and their voice is cracked through it. But that's the moment because in that moment they were living in that fucking moment. And they were fucking screaming it. And everybody seems to want to be that, but they're afraid of being it because of what this dumb cunt over here is going to say.
Yeah, never care what other people think.
No.
Don't ever do that. That's silly. No, I stopped caring what other people thought a long time ago.
Kurt told me that.
By looking at me.
In our short time we knew each other, and I said that at the Kurt Fest. It was one of the things that I remembered building up to Kurt Fest. I know a lot of people practice their material for that. I didn't practice any material for that show.
You're so stellar.
30 minutes before that show, I still hadn't chosen what I was singing. But what I had sat down and thought about for the few weeks in advance was what Kurt told me and was like, don't let people cut you down for who you are. And I realized in that 3 weeks leading up to Kurt Fest, I had done that. I had de-transitioned myself to just hide away because of... And yeah, ever since that show, I got up, dressed how I normally would years ago, and I've been doing it all week again. So I got so much more out of Kurt Fest than just
That's awesome.
Because
and that's so awesome. It's such a blessing, Jade, because that's exactly what Kurt would have wanted.
Yeah,
that's exactly what he was doing. He wanted people just to be themselves, be you.
Yeah.
Don't pose as something else, right?
Yeah.
You're you. And you are an amazing, beautiful soul. And fly that flag.
Totally.
We want it because we need that. We need that. We don't need cookie cutter people and the same thing. And yeah, let's challenge a status quo. Let's go out there and be ourselves and shock people. Ooh, here I am. How you like me now?
Well, it's interesting. When I first met you two, I had this, you form an opinion when you meet people and you go, wow, look at Kurt. He looks like this I don't give a shit hippie stoner who just would eat mushrooms in front. And then I know you're like a banker and you're like this. And I would think, is Justine like the serious? Like, what is this? But now this is another reason why I want to have you on here. You have this fucking vast knowledge of punk music and all this shit that most people wouldn't even have known about you. And there's
all kinds of weird stuff.
And now it looks like, oh my God, they're not so different. I had this image. You get this preconceived idea that you two would like, because some couples get together like that. They're chalk and cheese, and that's what makes it kind of work at the same time. But it doesn't seem like that was the case.
We both had the same interests. We loved the same things. We agreed on pretty much 99.9% of stuff. Where we were different and what made us very different, I am shyer. I am quieter. Kurt was always the loud guy. And it was nice because I could just push him out front and go, there you go. There you go. He's my mouthpiece. Whatever he says, that's right. Because, he spoke my mind too, which was great. And then I didn't have to.
Yeah.
That was perfect for me. Push the Gemini out front. That works.
So we'll hold it there for our chat on Kurt, but we're going to come back and, of course, talk a little bit just to close the show. But I know this is a subject that people are probably going to be like, why are you guys talking about this? And I told you we're going to talk about this. I find this fascinating. And I'm going to be very careful with my language here because I don't want to get the channel taken down because you've got to be careful with this stuff. But you are interested in some of the stuff online to do with predator hunting or predator catches and stuff. I'm so addicted to this stuff. I watch a lot of it on YouTube and a lot of it's been moved to Rumble. I used to watch it on Facebook a lot. Because, hey, look, I'm for rounding these fuckers up and offloading them. That's the kindest thing I can say.
Wood chipper. Feet first.
Wood chipper.
Anyway.
Wild boars.
Oh, that's good.
Or
Make them swim to Alcatraz and let the sharks get them.
Alligators don't leave much at all, right? You throw them.
Good idea.
Well, they don't leave anything.
Yeah.
Maybe a hand will float up or whatever. But so I watch a lot of this stuff. Unfortunately, I wish I didn't have to watch a lot of this stuff because I wish it didn't exist. I wish people weren't doing this dumb stuff to our young human beings that we have on this planet. The problem I have with watching this stuff too, unfortunately, is, okay, so we live in a world where the people who yell the most about some of this stuff sometimes turn out to be the very thing that they're yelling about. We've seen it with homophobia and transphobia. Like, I can tell you straight up, I've worked in the sex industry as a trans woman. The majority of people who would come in the sex industry leave after their service and walk straight out saying, kill all trans people, but they're secretly into it. And this is what worries me a lot about the predator catches, that I have this feeling that over time some of these people are going to end up, hey, remember that guy who was catching all these predators? It turned out they were one themselves. And it worries me that it's going to happen because they're so into it. And the other thing that upsets me about it is that they're trying to make money from it.
There you go. That's the big rub, right?
Because, like, here we are in an industry of, like, trading people, human trading and all this kind of stuff. That's what it is. There's a lot of it going on. But at the same time, you being all high and mighty and being, we're stopping it, but send us a donation and all this kind of stuff. It's like, aren't you profiteering off this? So aren't you a cog in? It's very hard. And I'm trying to be very careful with my language talking about this right now because I don't know if other people in the chat watch this stuff like you do. What got you into watching it?
First of all, okay, so I was working from home in the pandemic. I believe it was 2020, the end of 2021. And I went on to my local news station, Channel 4, online, and there was an article about a gentleman, a jerk, from my kids, where my stepkid lived in White Lake, Michigan. They caught a guy in Novi. He was at a hotel trying to meet up with a 13-year-old girl for sex at this Novi motel. And this group called Predator Catchers Indianapolis caught him. And they arrested him. They got him arrested. And I went, And the article said, oh, well, they're on YouTube. And I went, okay, well, it's a slow day. I went on my phone and I looked up Predator Catchers in Predator Catchers Indianapolis. And the main guy there was Eric. And I watched every single video. I got hooked.
Me too.
I was so hooked. And the way Eric did it, he was so good at it. The way he interviewed these guys and had them squirming, and then he would call the police. And that's what I think I loved the best about him, was that he would always call the cops, and he was always really good about that. And then I saw that he had these two women, Shonda and Brooklyn, and they're all so amazing. Now their group, and they actually brought in, it was Predator Catchers Indianapolis and Predator Catchers Muncie. So PCM and PCI were their nicknames. And they still have a website, and I recommend that.
Is Muncie
they're not on YouTube anymore.
Is he part of DAP or not?
No, Dap was its
Dap's
own thing. I
yeah,
know the
yeah,
guy
yeah,
from
yeah.
Dap.
See, I
Yeah.
used to love Dap. Dad's Against Predators, if you
Oh
don't know.
yeah, yeah.
But the difference was with him was it wasn't like we're going to find you after having a set up a dummy person. They would go out and meet them and then turn off the cameras and punch the absolute living hell out of them.
Yes.
And that's
He
when
still does that.
Yeah, and YouTube would just like
Yep.
we can't let you like
Nope.
bash
He
people
got
on camera.
his channel taken down
Yeah,
so
yeah.
many
But he was
times.
my favorite because the jokes and they
He's a
hit,
good friend of mine.
and they hit
Yep.
so much harder, and he copped a lot of shit in that. Because again, this is like a community, like our music community, and you've got people who
Yes.
are dickheads in there and misleading them. There's always groups of idiots in these communities who want
That is become, unfortunately, a
Yep.
drama community.
It has, yeah, and-
It's lost the actual what they were there for in the first
Totally.
place. And unfortunately, too, what I think happened, it's not so much the pred catchers themselves that are
it's the audience
becoming like that.
Yep.
It's the audience. They somehow, because they've got a thing about free speech there. And I get that. You want to be able to have people speak their minds, and that's fine. But it gets carried too toxic. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To a toxic level where you can say crap about people that's horrible, absolutely horrible. And that's not free speech.
I mean,
you
I still
can't
like Skeeter. Skeeter's still one of my favorites as well, just because
No,
he's
Skeeter.
he's funny as
Oh,
hell.
and Courtney.
And
Yeah,
Court-
Courtney's
man, she's
great.
done so much work. She has done
That's a
so
dear
much
friend of
work.
mine.
Yeah.
And a lot of the decoys, we always said the decoys were the backbone of that community, and they absolutely,
They absolutely are. It's a
They're
fascinating
the
world
ones
to fall
taking-
into, isn't it? Like,
It really is.
and
It's
I talked to you about this, and the reason we're bringing it up, because we're in a time at the moment where the American government and people who put this government in power are trying to label trans people as predators. And
It's just not true.
It's just bullshit. It's just
No.
trans people who are transitioning from one gender to the other, two genders only, in my opinion. But we are so consumed with fear of our lives each day. We have no time to even think about anything relating to that and have no interest in that. But there's a group of people who are so obsessed with it. I think it's them who have the. I mean, it's a group of people at the moment who seriously just want to patrol toilets, checking trans people's genitals. I think you've got the fucking problem out there. I don't want to see your genitals, so fuck off.
No, thank you.
But
Let's just leave them.
So I would watch this too to see, well, hang on, where are all the trans people that apparently are this? No, it turns out it's a lot of
It's
fucking
mostly white men.
straight white men.
Yeah. Yeah, it's mostly straight white men. Yes, yes, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And like, and what I say when you do watch it, well, and PCI and PCM aren't on YouTube anymore. They work with the police directly.
Yeah.
So your
which is the best way to
legitimate
go.
groups, exactly, that really do this, and the decoys that really do this. I mean, they work for legitimate groups and they work directly with the cops.
Yep.
So they're really trying to do something real. But you've got to watch the guys that, sniff and talk about, how they're losing this and that. They need donations, guys.
Yeah.
Watch some people.
Yeah.
And they're all over the place.
There's definitely
everywhere.
there's some interesting characters in that community.
Oh man,
As-
it's yeah. I'm glad I'm removed from it at this point. So it's just entertainment, I think.
So we can jump. We can jump from that to finding this YouTube music community.
Yeah.
So you mentioned earlier, who it was you first found here and how your introduction, and then all of a sudden, you just start coming to everybody's channel, you start channel hopping we are a bunch of channel hoppers, aren't we? It's like what this indie community reminds me of? Those buses they have on the weekends of and all the women go on and jump on the bus and they go to all the stores, all the clothing stores. That's what it is. We all jump on the bus and we all go to the next show and we all say hello to each other again, even though we just saw each other 2 minutes ago. And that's it. That's our life, isn't it?
It's great. Well, and this is what happened. See, we got into the drama in the pred catcher community, right? And because my husband loved going on the panels. I was never a panel person, but he loved it. And he made a lot of friends that way, but we got a lot of trolls that way. So long story short, we were trying to get away from it, just somewhere where there was some solace. And music, naturally, I always gravitate. Like I said, music means everything to me. It's healing, it's relaxation, it helps my brain. So any kind of music, anybody doing any type of music, that was where I just felt comfortable. It felt right. So where I really started going was conspiracy music. Clay,
Yeah.
when he had his Friday show, I was there every Friday. For some reason, I just gravitated to everything he played, all the people in there. And that's where I met all of you guys. I think I met every one of you there. And in fact, I think I came into the community when you had lost your channel, Jade. And we went in there, we
I
were like, well,
know.
what the hell?
I know.
And we donated to get that back, because I was like, well, shit, this is a great community. Who would do that to this person? Oh my God, screw that, so
I was knocked off my feet when that happened. For those of you who don't know, this channel, essentially, I try to teach people how to make music using iPads and apps and techniques and all this stuff, because I've been doing it for a long time.
Great.
And I
Yeah.
do interviews and all this kind of stuff. Well, I try to release some music every now and again. Unfortunately, I don't get to release as much music as everyone else because I'm too busy teaching, which sucks.
Yeah.
And I released this song about religious, the evangelical money religious people and how much they hate trans people. And I used a sample in the song of a religious person saying that gay and trans people should be shot in the back of the head. And I released the song and made a video clip, and the video clip was awesome and all this stuff. And YouTube took down my channel.
Took down your channel.
And
Yeah.
the
And that
irony,
was an era.
was, I'm sitting here going, this song is about these people that hate me, and you've taken this
Yeah.
as me hating them. No,
Yeah. They
motherfuckers.
turned it around on
And
you.
there was no way I could fight it. And this community came to, because I was banned for pretty much a month, and helped me pay
That
my
sucks.
bills while I was offline.
Yes.
So,
And that was through Steve Harloha that we heard about that.
right.
So we came to support, and I became a member of your channel and started. And then I remember meeting Leela through playing the game. I still have the app on my silly phone. What was it called? Kahoot. We were
Kahoot,
playing
the
a
game
grunge.
show. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, we were playing the grunge. Grunge. Oh, it was so fun.
We got another one of
And I
those
just
coming
never-
up soon. We got a trivia night
That's so
coming
cool.
up for members.
I love trivia. I love it.
And the
So
next
I
trivia
was
night
just
is on
hooked.
the next trivia night is on the people on the music on the YouTube indie community. So everybody, you better scrub up on your knowledge on each other, because
That'd be
that's what the
great.
next one is. So
Oh, cool.
so you find us, and
Yep.
and you know, and you start coming to all these shows, and you and Kurt come to everybody's show, and I mean, we all know the deal as creators here. I've said it that many times. You've touched, Kurt and you have touched so many of us, and as a creator, whenever you would come in, I don't know, I just feel like a pick me up, like I feel good,
Aw,
right?
cool.
And
That's a good thing.
because as artists, this is the thing. Like, there's a whole lot of us here in this indie community. We're quite precious little pricks. We got a lot of feelings going on. Yeah, no matter what we believe in or what political shit we're very emotional human beings as musicians and artists, and you're one yourself.
Yep.
And the smallest criticism can just really rip you apart. And out there in this world, there's a lot of fucking assholes who are just ready to go, you know what, that's shit, and I'm going to let you know about it and really just hate you.
Mhm.
And here, you can argue till the cows come home in this community that sometimes, maybe that song isn't that good and you could do better. The song's already finished. There's no point sitting there and critiquing that kind of thing. But there's ways to get in on the ground level, and like what I try and do and help somebody master a song. But
Yeah.
everyone's really positive, even when something's not even as good as what it can be. And that's more important because our egos, we take a battering. And the smallest comment, no matter what, people say words have no, the smallest comment about a song you pour your heart in can fucking destroy you.
Yeah.
Can rip
sure
you apart,
can.
and it can make you not
That's
make
your
music.
baby.
Yeah, that's it.
It's your baby. I know what it is to create something. I know what it is. Maybe I haven't written music yet, but I've created art and
Yes.
I've written, papers and things. And when people crap on you, it hurts. It's your whole, I've had a teacher sit there and look at me and go, "What are you trying to say?" And when somebody says that to you, you're like, "Okay, let me just throw my pen away. I'm done." But, so that's, me and Kurt both took it very seriously to lift people up
Yep.
instead of tearing people. So many people tear people down. We saw that in that Predcatcher community, and there was no reason for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. And so instead of doing that, I'm going to take that example and turn it on its head, and I'm going to start talking people up. And I'm going to start encouraging them. And I'm going to pick out the thing I like about this, and I'm going to talk about that. And then see how that works out for everyone. And see how it worked out? It works out a heck of a lot better
It
than
does.
tearing people down and picking out the stuff that sucks. Let's not do that. Let's pick out the stuff that's good and
Yeah.
show that instead. And so that's awesome.
All right, we're going to change the pace. We're close to the end. So I want to thank everybody for being here today. And
Yeah.
all right, I don't know how to get to the. I don't. So we
Just do it.
For those, I'm fucking just gonna do it. And I think you trust me enough. It's like you're my Valentine's today. So
Yeah. My Valentine.
So all of us know we lost Kurt. We know how it happened. It was in a house fire. It was shit, fucking horrible, worst. I can't even imagine what went on.
Worst thing
with
that ever
him.
happened
What-
to me in my life. Yeah.
All right, I'm before then because I know, and I've sat here so many times, Justine, thinking, what was going on with him when it happened? I can't even imagine. So there's that. Let's move that to there. We don't know. We can't know because we weren't fucking there. We're not him.
Right.
How do you find out, and what goes through your head?
Well, I was having a great day at work, actually.
Of course.
It was the day after Christmas, and we were kind of just screwing around. I mean, literally, our goal we said was not to do that much work that day, right? And in the freaking ironic thing was I had been talking about Kurt and how cool he was and how good our relationship was. And at 12:04 p.m., I got a weird phone call from my neighbor. First, I got a weird text from her. And I was like, "What are you?" She goes, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I'm at work. What's going on?" And she called me and said, "My neighbor Kim just called and said that there's black smoke pouring out of your house and EMS is there." And I said, "I gotta go." And I hung up the phone. I tore out my computer from the wall. I threw it in my bag. I don't really remember much of anything. I grabbed everything I could. I ran to my car. I did 90 miles down I-75. I got to my house praying that it wasn't my house. I got on the street that's just, kind of parallel, actually, to mine. And I'd seen fire trucks and thought, "Oh, it's this house. It's not my house." But then I turned on my street and it was my house. And glass is broken out of the, all the windows are broken. And all I could see was my front door was gone. And there's a bunch of black crap on my front lawn. And I'm not thinking, I parked the wrong way on the street. I run out of the car. The fire marshal meets me and some police. they actually pulled me aside because the fire marshal, she's a woman. She said, "That's news over there. Come over here." So I guess the news had already been there. And so they were going to try to interview me like, "Oh, yeah,
Fuck
I want to
off.
talk to you."
Yeah.
Exactly. So the fire marshal and the police were protecting me from them.
Good.
And of course, all I wanted to know was where Kurt was.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
care. And my cats. And of course, they didn't know about the cats at the time, but they said they had taken Kurt and they do this thing. They did this to me in my car accident too, where they look at you and they're like, you know, do
Oh,
you need
man,
to
I hate that.
do you
Yeah.
not? And see, when they do
Who's going to
that,
do
I
it?
already know.
Yeah.
So from my car accident, they did that to me before they told me Larry had died, right? These two nurses looked at each other, looked at me and go, "Look, I think I already know the answer. Why don't you just tell me?"
Yeah, don't ever
So they did.
don't become a championship poker player anytime soon.
Yeah, like I understand somebody told you not to tell me because they
Yeah.
want me to want to kill myself or something. I'm not going to do that. Just tell me.
Yeah.
I don't want to do that. So just tell me. And that's what this lady did. She was like, I'm like, "Just tell me." And she said, "We had to do CPR on him for a half hour. He's at Beaumont." I said, "That's bad." She said,
Yeah.
"Yes, it's bad." So that's when they asked me if I was okay to drive. I said, "No, I'm absolutely not okay to
Yeah.
drive. I
What
will
a stupid
not be
question.
okay." Yeah. At this point, no, I'm going to run people over.
Yeah.
Nope. Somebody's going to have to drive me. So they had actually my friend, he's a police officer. I know him from the party store on the corner, Brian. He drove me
Right.
to Beaumont Hospital, where I went in. And then I really knew it was bad because they ushered me in a room all by myself and then it was actually the only clergy they had on hand was a rabbi. And he came in, I went, "I know
fuck.
you're here and I'm screwed,
Yeah.
right? This is effed." So that was I was in panic mode. I don't even know if anything was going through my head yet. I couldn't even cry yet. My father-in-law got there and took one look at him and just broke down. It was bad. And what they were telling me, they burn centers wouldn't even take him because they thought he wouldn't live through the ambulance ride. So they didn't want to be liable for him dying in the ambulance.
Yeah.
So basically, the rest of the story.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad, like I'm grilling you on this, but I don't know. Like we've all.
Okay.
I mean, we've all had. I mean, everybody's lost people. We can all empathize to some degree, but until something as heavy as this, you don't know how you're going to react. And like I was kind of watching from the sidelines and seeing you in chats and just going, "How the fuck are you even still here?" Like, but at the same
I
time,
don't know.
knowing, well, you can't fall.
Ali Gratia is one reason.
Yeah, she's amazing.
That's the truth.
But you know this as with anything, you can't retreat. You can't retreat into a hole. That's the first step into madness, right? That is the first step into. And again, this is why I wanted to have you on and talk about this. We've heard your story. It's already abundantly clear now how you've handled this in such a way I don't think I would have been able. Oh, we lost her again. So that just happened. She may have lost power there. So we'll come back here and wait and see if she gets back on. Here she comes. She's back. She's back. She's back. She's all right. Hey.
Oh, this keeps happening.
I love it though. It's maybe, hey, Kurt, are you fucking with us?
Yeah, probably.
He probably thinks
No mistake.
Probably thinks it's hilarious. It's like, stop talking me up.
On and off.
But no, it's incredibly inspiring, and
Oh, thanks.
I just,
I'm glad my story can do that.
well, I think it's inspired many of us, and look, it's created festivals that are going to happen every year.
Yeah,
I mean,
you would love that. Oh my God.
who would have? It's so weird. You just don't know what the world's going to throw at you. And I mean, so from there, most of us know what happened from there. You were given information like, hey, this is the situation we're at. And then, I mean, I remember going live on Patreon at one point, and I just got word that there had been movement. And
Yeah,
I was sitting
yeah.
on Patreon going, somebody just told me this.
Yeah.
And at the same time, in the back of your head, I don't know how you were, but I mean, you're there, you're closest to it. Did that moment, did you actually have real hope, or was it?
Yeah, it was grasping and reaching for, just like Violent Femmes, grasp and reach for a leg of hope. I literally, did I really believe he was going to come out of that? I believed if he was going to, it would have been a mess, and he would have been
Right.
a vegetable, and he wouldn't have
Yeah.
wanted that.
Yeah.
I was struggling with the fact that, okay, so we had Gift of Hope there. We donated his organs.
Yep.
And they had camped themselves across in another room across from Kurt. So Kurt's in this ICU room, right? And they're in this conference room that's across the hall. And he's kicking his head up, Jade. It was weird.
Fuck.
And I learned that this is kind of messed up, but it's a response when somebody is brain dead. I guess it's like from nerves in your spine still are twitching. But these doctors at Beaumont had never seen this. So they're telling
Fucking
me,
doctors.
yeah, these doctors are telling me, well, we couldn't declare brain dead because he moved.
Yeah.
And so that does give you some kind of hope.
Yeah.
So I'm there, and I don't remember exactly who it was, but somebody told me, go to the hospital and start talking to him. Might have been Allie. Allie was one of the people, and a couple others did too.
Yep.
Go to the hospital and start talking to him. So that's what I did. As soon as I heard that, it was like 4:30 or something. I went to the hospital and I just started talking to him. People were giving me messages from the community, and I would tell him. I played him G-Maze. I did everything because people said that he could hear me.
Right.
He's still there, so he can hear me. And I was like, if there's any possibility that man is still in there, I'm going to be there. No matter what, I'm not going to leave him there.
Yeah.
So I stood there, and then that night they said, okay, we're going to take him for a CT scan because of all this movement that he's having, so we can make sure. I said, yes, please do that, because I'm not giving up my husband to you yet. Okay. I mean, I'm all for organ donation, don't get me wrong, but you got to make sure the person's gone first.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Don't be like looking to harvest my husband's organs. It's gross. This is not Invasion of the Body Snatchers. You know what I'm saying? So I got a little uppity, with them. And I said, you got to understand my position. I'm in a really hard position having to decide to give up my husband's life and to give you his organs. It's not cool. So we had to go through the night, because the CT scan, that the results didn't come until the morning. I was there in the morning, and I demanded to see them. I demanded them on paper. And I sent them to a trusted person who could read it.
Yep.
And they told me that he was gone.
I remember that, yeah.
And as soon as that happened, then I had the responsibility of letting him go, because I know he wouldn't want to be trapped in that. That's horrible.
I mean, and that, it opens up as soon as you let go. That's the thing, isn't it? As human beings, we sit there and we want to hold on as long as we can, because we know as soon as we let go, there's a whole lot of other shit we have to now deal with.
Yeah. Oh boy, is there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And sometimes it's easy just to hold on as long as you can.
Yeah.
I mean,
I almost fainted. I'll tell you that. I almost lost my
did you
when I
lose it
realized
at anybody?
it.
Did you lose it at anybody in the hospital and get fucking? I would have lost it. I would have gone. What the
Almost.
fuck you fucking?
but I didn't. I kept it together. I didn't want to get kicked out.
Yeah.
They'll kick your ass
Want to get
out, you
kicked out,
know.
have security
I
come.
didn't want to get
Out you
kicked
go.
out.
We've heard about you,
So,
punk rocker.
yeah, exactly. You know, I'm already trouble. They're eyeing me. So I was just, you know, I couldn't blame them. It wasn't anybody's fault. That's
Sure.
the sucky thing. I think the worst thing is there's nobody to blame. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
there's just you're just pissed off that this shit happened. And why?
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know. It's
So
weird.
So we, all of us, I mean, I'm a part of so many groups, and I remember, just thinking, holy fuck, you're just going through so much. And I'm a part of like this messenger group with Laurie and Coldacre, and I knew they were all like,
Oh yeah.
they had their own little thing going, organizing you a microphone and interface because they want you
All
to
of
sing.
you. Oh my God.
We're all of us who do streams, we changed our whole streams for the week saying we're donating money,
You did.
and at the same time
You guys are so amazing.
we don't know what's going on. Like, you just put that stuff out there because that shit's nothing, right? That's just money, right?
Yeah.
And the whole time, I know many conversations we were having is just like, how the fuck is she still going? How, like, what is Justine Kasprick's kryptonite? Because if there is something, can we please make sure none of it stays on Earth? Because,
Thank you.
just
You guys were just so amazing, and you are all the reason I am still here, and that I'm at all sane and cognitive and can put words together. Okay, is that I remember that Friday before he died, Pole Vault was thinking about not going on, and I emailed him and I said, "You better go.
Yeah.
I need you to go on. You need to go on. I need this stream because if I don't get it, I'm gonna disintegrate over here." And he did. He went on, and it was wonderful. And I'm gonna break down now because you guys are so amazing. I really don't know how I survived. I don't know. I don't. I'm sorry.
no.
But it's cathartic, and it's so important that sometimes this is what I gotta do. I just gotta let it out when it comes.
Yes, you have to.
And it comes at the most inopportune times whatsoever. And it comes at the weirdest times. But I gotta let it out. And it's okay.
It is okay.
I'm gonna cry. It's gonna happen. Because it's just so fresh. And even a year from now, it's going to be fresh.
It's always
He
going
was
to be
my
fresh.
best friend.
Yeah.
Yep. That was my best bud, my favorite human being. So it's been pretty rough. This one was hard. Yep.
And this is the thing too. But like I said at the start of this, I didn't get you up here on here for views or anything like that. I just felt that there needed to be some kind of decompression going on, because
Yes.
in all forms of things that we practice in life, right? Every kind of thing we do is kind of like a spell or some kind of thing that we put into action. And if there's no way to decompress,
Yeah.
then it just
Right.
makes things a whole lot harder. And again, even when this finishes, this isn't no magical answer. This is just a
Right.
moment of time.
Yeah.
We talked about this before coming on the show, and it's another hard topic I'm going to broach. So everything goes down. It's like you find out, hey, this is done. This is a done deal.
Yep.
And you announce you're going to do this thing called an honor walk.
Yep.
I had no idea what the fuck it was. And knowing me, I didn't even have enough tough fucking time to go look it up. But I knew you were doing it.
Did.
And there was, I think some kind of show was on. There's some kind of show on where and it was happening you were actually doing it and gonna record it and put it up. And then it came out and you dropped it.
Yeah.
And holy fuck, it was one of the fucking most brutal things I think I've seen on YouTube. And all the way through watching it, I was like, how the fuck are you filming this?
Yeah.
What
He would have wanted me to.
Yeah.
I know Kurt would have wanted that. So that's why everything I did at that point, I was doing it because I knew he wanted it.
Yeah,
So
right.
I bucked up and I did it.
Fuck
And
me.
it was very difficult. It was. But they do that for every single person that donates their organs.
Right.
They do this honor walk. And so they call up all of the medical personnel from the hospital, anybody that's available. They line the corridors as you walk your loved one to the OR for their organs to be taken and donated. And it is better than a funeral. It's like having, you know how when the military comes home or they're
Yeah.
driving somebody, that has died from the military in a war, or
Yeah.
a police officer, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
And it was fitting for him. He deserved that. He needed something like that. And I was really happy to give him something like that they did that honor walk for him. He he was he would have wanted to donate his organs. He was that kind of a person.
Yeah.
He was completely giving. He loved people, and he would have wanted all of that. He would have been jumping up and down and so happy that I did that. And I know it seems really brutal, but it was really comforting at the same time.
Yeah.
And I think an opportunity for us as family to really say our goodbye, even better than a funeral. Because let me tell you,
Funerals.
he was in a fire,
Yeah.
and the funeral was great. The funeral home was awesome. Lynch and Sons was a great funeral home, wonderful people, amazing. But he was in a fire, so it was hard for them, and he lost a lot of his hair,
Yeah.
and he lost his beard, and it didn't look like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most of the time when you're at the funeral home and you're looking at that, it doesn't look like them anyway.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
It never did.
I mean-
So,
Yeah. And in funerals too, you've got, we talked about this before, you're paying somebody to get up and read out a bunch of things that they've been fed. I mean, I remember watching the funeral as well and kind of was like, okay, when's Justine singing? Because the moment, because that was for me, hey, we're all different. And that was to see you sing and do what you love, and for him, that was the part of the funeral that made sense, because it's it's so hard. This is so, folks. I don't know how I can tell you how hard it is to sit up here and interview somebody, talk about such a I can't even believe you're doing this, like and allowing me to ask. I'm very privileged and very honored. Trust me, Justine, I don't take this lightly at all that you have trusted me to come up and talk about this.
I know. And I'm so glad you did. You're such a dear friend. And of course, it was perfect for you to ask. And I don't mind at all. I don't mind talking about it. I'm glad to talk about it. We should. And I don't want anybody to be shy about asking me. I don't mind talking about it. It's a good thing. He would have wanted that.
Yeah.
And everything I do, I know, Kurt would have been behind it.
When you
I think
mentioned
that's what drives me to what would Kurt have me do?
when you mentioned the honor walk being like a tribute, it made me think he is a hero to many of us. As I said before, as musicians, when somebody tells you what you do is special, it's so it spurs you on. So to me, knowing what Kurt would do just to go to every single fucking channel and just build people up constantly, that's hero's work.
Yep, he was my hero for sure.
And
I'm glad that he was a champion for all of you wonderful people. Y'all deserved it too.
and he lives through all of us. It sounds
Yeah.
cliched, and you. And is there anything you feel like you need to say that you haven't said about the whole, well, everything that's gone? Do you need to scream down the microphone and yell shit, fuck, cunt, dog, dick, face, prick? I don't know.
Well, not right now.
Not right now. We'll do it in private.
There have been times,
Yeah.
where I get really mad at pretty much the whole universe. Like, what the hell? You give me my love of my life and then you rip them away like
Fuck.
that. How
Yeah.
about, I'm just going to do this. How about fuck you?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. But then again, I'm not the only one that things have ever happened to. And I'm not the only one that's ever suffered through something. And I also had the love of my life, which how many people get that opportunity? I
Yeah.
don't know,
Yeah.
so you can't look at it completely negative. I think that that's the bottom line of somebody that where shit happens and it happens to happen a lot to me, looks like, but there's always something good. And for me, man, it's this community. I'm telling you, it's amazing. You're amazing. Everybody in chat is amazing. You're all incredible human beings and complete examples of how humans should be. So there,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I have to say.
So, I know you've had to like go back and like deal with the house and stuff. No, we had a brief I heard you talking about a brief conversation about it. You're pretty much just going to hopefully bulldoze, move on.
Yeah.
What's next? Do you have? I mean, you seem like the person who is already thinking forward. Right?
Yeah.
So,
You got that right. Yep.
yeah.
Working on, just getting it all together, and I'm gonna buy a new place. And I would like all of you to come to it, please. You're all invited.
We're
I want to get a
there!
big enough place where people can stay there.
All
And I'm
right.
dead serious. Like, come have a vacation. If you want a gig in Detroit, we'll try to get you a place to play. Heather and Al, Folk and Blueser and Feisty Feather are here, and they've got a really cool club down in Taylor that they play at. So, I mean, that's what I want to do. I'm devoting my life to creativity and music and all of that. And to me, that's a goodness in life. And I want that in my life. So I'm going to get a place. Looking right now, east side of this universe. We call it the East Side. Everything's East Side, West Side, West Side. Um, but I'm an East Sider, really. I turned into an East Sider. I was a Middle Sider, but now I'm an East Sider. So I'm looking over there and hopefully get a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, basement garage and a yard, and we'll do a yearly barbecue.
Wow. And you're going to have a studio. So, folks, now I'm putting a
Yep.
call out here, and I know there's probably already people on this. We got a new victim for the music community collaborations. So, now I know that a whole bunch of people put together some gear and microphones and all. So we're
yeah.
slowly building that
Sweet.
shit up. So that's going to be the thing. If you, I feel like I'm doing it. If you would like to work with Justine Kasprick, just reach out and here she is. Just reach out and call 1-800 Justine Rocks right now, and you can have her singing on your next song.
Hit me up on IG, DM me, slide in my DMs. I'm good with it.
We've brought it back. It got heavy, and look, shit is heavy, man.
It's heavy.
I
real.
think you'll agree that it's the way we rise above that really is the most important thing. The way we come out of it and do I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm so blown away that you've given me this opportunity to talk to you today and do all this and find out.
Oh.
As I said in the beginning, the goal of this was to find out how were you so strong. And I think you'll be able to see from that Justine's story, she's a machine. So, and I think Leela's putting links in to Cash App and all that stuff. So if you still haven't done that, go and do all those
Thanks,
things.
guys.
We're going to close out today and let everybody get on with their day. There's plenty of entertainment to come up as always. I think it's 15th Bend alive today. We've got Chris Lane Sr. also on. Then tomorrow, a massive lineup of entertainment. If you didn't know, let's quickly cover it. Valerie Bart is on. I'm following Valerie Bart after her directly with Walk With Me, which is now finally available on my YouTube. I see that it's been cleared. It's actually up there. There's a link to it if you want to go and set it and all that kind of stuff. It looks like it's up now. It's a 2-hour special where I took you to this wonderful beach here, Queenscliff and Sorrento. After that, I could get all this wrong because I'm shocking. After that, I think is Pole Vault and Sunshine Archer. Then we've got, after that, Laurie's Mishmosh. Then we've got Gary Hubs. And then we have Leela closing the entertainment for tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe to all of those things. Now, thank you all. I did mention, I said 15th Bend later today.
Yep.
So the last song you've chosen today is by one of the sweetest guys in our community. And you've got to meet this guy. I've interviewed him on here. There's just something really beautiful about Michael's songs. And what is it to you?
Oh, this was Kurt's favorite Michael songs tune. That's what this is. And it reminds me of really good times and meeting them and the vinyl we got, and they had given us, something to frame the vinyl in. They had drawn things and it was just so cool. And this is just really good times. Very good memories.
All right, let's get into it. Thank you, everybody, for all the kind words. Thank you for hanging out. We did over 3 hours. Thank you, Justine, for just 3 hours. What the hell? This is my longest interview I think I've ever done. And
if my power didn't go out.
That was all perfect. Don't you think? How awesome was it? Like, I love it when those things happen in these interviews. It even adds more drama to the whole story of the interview, and I dig when shit like that happens.
Great.
As I want to reiterate what Justine said, you're all awesome. I love you all, very unique and wonderful in all your own way. Don't change. Keep being fucking weird, everyone, because the real weirdos are fucking trying to stop you from being weird in a good way.
That's right.
And don't let those weirdos tell you how not to be weird. All right. Thank you, my love. Please stay on the line so I can say goodbye to you off the air. And this is Michael's songs. It's called The Morning Song. As always, remember, folks, do the things that make you happy. Mistakes make you better. We'll all rise together. Stay awake and let's Oja.
So I'll just jump right into it. Just like last night, I'm going to start off with Kurt's favorite Michael song. This is Morning Song. Do I chance it? Telling everyone how I'm feeling, knowing full well what it might lead to. A whole lot of unwanted attention and questions I don't want to answer. Just wanted to get this off my chest. By the way the light falls, slipping slowly down the wall. Do I need to be here? My morning song is always so alone. Do I need to be here? Do I risk it? Or bottle it up and they miss it? On the side changes in their missions. And I'd hope they'd say, we're glad you're with us. We all question our existence. Oh, from time to time. From time to time. From time to time. By the way the light falls, something's tumbling down the walls. Do I need to be here? My morning song is always sung alone. Do I need to be here? By the way the light falls, something's tumbling down the walls. Do I need to be here? By the way the light falls, something's tumbling down the walls. Do I need to be here? My morning song is always sung alone. Do I need to be There you go. There's morning song for Kurt.